Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the week 2 of the Razzball Fantasy Football Live Start Sit Show. I'm your host, Bobby Lamarco. Today, I'm joined by two of my colleagues you've seen on the show plenty of times. Sky Gawasco. You can find him at Sky Gawasco on Twitter. And then Gladys Louise Tyler, of course, down at the bottom. You can follow her at Gladys L. Tyler on Twitter. Kick it down to you first, Gladys. How you doing this morning?
Perfect. It's a great day. It's a great day here out in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to get it on, baby. Let's go.
That's what I like to hear. Sky, what's going on, man?
Well, with Gladys's intro there, I'm much more fired up, so I'm ready to go, Bob. It's per usual, it's 7:04 a.m. kickoff here on the West Coast. I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. Let's get into week 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, first off, I wanted to just talk about Colton coming in first thing in the morning right here.
Oh, man.
So Sky, why do you give us why do you host us off?
Colton, great to see you, buddy. Thanks for chiming in again right away. I hope your teams did okay last week. I know you had lots of questions in week 1 there. Hope we were able to be of service. Let's kick it off quick, and then we'll get an injury report from Bob here early in the morning. Colton wants to know 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So we're essentially picking about 5 players out of this group here. A lot of good studs. Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, James Conner, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Brandon Cooks. If I remember correctly, this is like an 8 or 6 team league, something ridiculous. So we're looking for 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Bob, we'll kick it off to you first here.
So, yeah, I think Brandon Cooks is out for me this week. I'm going to actually go with Kupp and Amon-Ra St. Brown are locked into my 2 receiver spots. Now, I think I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. I'm good with him there. Williams and Connor. So I'm actually going to sit Henderson and Brandon Cooks.
Okay, Gladys?
Is this a PPR?
I believe so.
Okay, I agree. Brandon Cooks is out. Gone. Kupp and Brown. I would go Javonte Williams and Darrell Henderson and put Aaron Jones in the flex.
Got it. And I am going to make it a 3-peat. I really like Brandon Cooks in general, but against Gladys's Broncos, I think Houston's going to have a tough time this week here. So I'm going to sit Cooks as well. And I think Akers gets a little more work this week here, whether he's able to do anything with it or not. So I'm going to sit Henderson also. Thank you, Colton. Appreciate you. One more here. Official Savage back in from the other side. I believe he was also a fantasy focused folk. And good point here. Good morning, y'all. Let's get that weather report started and a kicker report. So official Savage, first of all, great to see you on the other side of the fence. And those of you coming over from the fantasy focus team, we appreciate you revisiting Bob and I and Gladys now on our team over here as well at Razzball. The weather report and the kicker report. Bob handles the kicker report, and Buck used to be on the weather report. But Buck is not with us today, so I will jump in. Official Savage, give me a few minutes to look at a weather report around the league, and we'll get you updated. But Bob, we'll get a kicker report for you as we go on in the show. And Bob, before we start flooding the airwaves here, why don't you give us an updated injury list as of now, at least?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I got 2 things to add. Number 1, we do have a weather report. By the way, if you go to razzball.com, I actually create a post for this, and I actually include all the injured players and a weather report on that post. If you also go to Reddit, do it there too. But if you want to come to the Sunday live show, we appreciate you. There's 2 games that have red flags, the Jacksonville Jaguars game and versus the Colts, and then, of course, the 49ers with the Seattle Seahawks. Those are the only 2 games yesterday when I was going through all this that have any weather implications. Now, I actually asked Sky yesterday via text. I need someone who lived in the area or has family in the area to tell us what's going on in Santa Clara. So I know Sky will have more information on that later. But those are the 2 that are red flags. Now, we saw last week Trey Lance already played in bad weather. So we saw him play against the Chicago Bears, and it wasn't really that great. I actually sat Trey Lance in all my leagues because of this news. I am not sure what the weather is going to be like in Santa Clara by the end of the day when they start kicking off, but as of right now, it sounds like there is going to be some weather impact. And Seattle, for what it's worth, did a decent job against Russell Wilson last week. So I'm not all in on Trey Lance to start him. I actually pivoted to Justin Fields, ironically. In the Jacksonville game, we got to remember Matt Ryan's going to be down Michael Pittman. He's also going to be, this is a good segue. He's going to be down Michael Pittman. He's also going to be down Alex Pierce. So if you look at the actual injury report for that game, Matt Ryan's going to be down 2 of his top weapons. So, the Colts in general are probably going to struggle to, throw the ball, get the ball moving through the air. So I'm going to see more of it on the ground. I actually love Nyheim Hines this week because of these injuries. I think they're going to be, checking down, especially if it's bad weather, lean on Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Juwan James and Ronnie Staley are out. That's 2 of the left tackles for the Baltimore Ravens. One of my favorite starts this week are the Miami Dolphins. I actually have them in my DFS lineup. They did very well last year against Lamar Jackson. CJ Uzama is out. Why is that important? Tyler Conklin ran a lot of routes last week with Joe Flacco and the Jets. If you're looking for a streamer tight end, someone that you can potentially plug into your lineup, it's Tyler Conklin. Detroit Lions are going to be down 4 offensive linemen today. So they're going to be down all 3 of their starters in the interior and then the backup in the interior. So that's a slight ding to the Swift-Williams matchup there as well. So the Commanders' defense really has been uninspiring, even all with the talent up front, but I still think it's notable to be down that many offensive linemen. Chris Godwin is officially out today. But remember, Mike Evans is dealing with a hamstring. Julio Jones is banged up in a game-time decision. Russell Gage is banged up. I'm actually fading Tom Brady this week in a tough matchup against the New Orleans Saints. And I actually think that if you have Mike Evans, of course, remember, he plays Marshawn Lattimore, does not usually do that well. So might be fading him across the board. Devonta Smith. Donovan Smith, the left tackle for the Bucs, is out too, so that's another ding to Tom Brady and that offense as a whole. Wan'Dale Robinson is out last week. Sterling Shepard took over in the slot. Call me crazy, but I still don't think I'm going to be taking any Giants receivers just yet. Taking from a Giants fan, you might want to be patient with that. Aaron Robinson, cornerback for the Giants, is out today. It's an outside receiver. That actually is a boost for DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, especially DJ Moore. Aaron Robinson was actually pretty good outside corner last week for the Giants. He's going to be out. So bump up DJ Moore in your ranks. Damian Williams is out today. Cordell Patterson has a tough matchup against the Rams, but he should be an absolute workhorse. So I think he's a very safe low-end RB2 because of the Williams injury. The Seattle Seahawks secondary is going to be out 2 starters today. So if the weather does hold up, this is what we want to keep in track of because Trey Lance should get a slight bump because of this. But remember, that weather report is alarming there as well. George Kittle is out most likely today. Official word has not come down yet. Last thing I heard is that they're pushing for him to play, but Ross Dwelly would be probably your Hail Mary San Francisco tight end throw, but like we just brought up earlier, because of that weather, probably going to fade it all. The Cowboys, by the way, just keep losing offensive linemen. They lost Connor McGovern. They're going to be down, of course, Tyron Smith. So there's a bunch of injuries to that Cowboys offensive line. So it's a little ding to Zeke. I think Zeke's more viewed as a volume RB2, and same with Tony Pollard. I think that hurts him a little bit, but hopefully Pollard, because his usage in the passing game, will be okay today. KJ Hamler is out. One of my favorite plays this week is Cortland Sutton. Hamler did play a lot of routes last week, only saw 2 targets, so he's not really that involved in the offense, but just going to funnel more targets to Judy and Sutton in this offense. Maybe even an Albert O is a low-end tight end one this week. Rondell Moore and Andy Isabella are out. One of my favorite dart throws this week is Greg Dortch. The slot receiver last week played very well, had 7 receptions in that game. So I think with these 2 injuries, he's going to be on the field a bunch in a potential shootout against the Raiders. Brandon Bolden out. That's key. He's the passing down back for the Raiders. Actually, Josh Jacobs led the team in routes last week. You can see Jacobs get a slight bump there. If you're looking for a Hail Mary PPR dart throw, maybe in DFS, Amir Abdullah would be the next man up as a pass-catching back. The Raiders are down 3 starters in the back 7, so they're missing a linebacker, a safety, and a cornerback. That should help Kyler Murray bounce back after a rough showing last week. Like we talked about a bunch of times, this is a potential shootout, so those injuries in the back end could help Kyler Murray and that passing game. Dontrell Hilliard is out today. That is actually good news for Derrick Henry. Hilliard played a lot of the passing game work last week. Could help Derrick Henry out just a little bit. And finally, Christian Fulton is out, one of the outside cornerbacks for the Titans. That's big time for Stephon Diggs. I think Diggs has a monster game, in especially with the Gabe Davis potentially limited or questionable. I think Stephon Diggs has a monster week this week. Back to you, Sky.
Pro. Well done. I was going through my rankings here just to update and noticed a couple other deeper sleepers. So as we go along here and give the updates, we will be dropping some more knowledge. Once again, anybody else, we're starting to click in here. I see Colton in the chat. Official Savage got another couple. Braden O'Connell's with us this morning. We got a few of you waiting for your questions. We really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to hit the subscribe button right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel. And you can follow our podcast as well. This will not be dropping on the podcast because it will be a moot point in a few hours. However, you can find all of our daily and weekly podcast episodes on the Razzball Fantasy Football podcast. So make sure to download that and subscribe as well, and leave a rate and review if you so choose. All right, let's get into this here. Colton setting 9 lineups once again. Here we go. All right, Colton is, let's see, other league, Cousins or Aaron Rodgers. Let's take this kind of piece by piece here. Gladys, we'll start with you. Cousins or Aaron Rodgers?
Cousins all day long. Although he has that stigma of not being able to play in prime time, he still has Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson makes up for a lot. A-Rod has a grumpy disposition and pretty much nothing else. So I'm going with Cousins.
Bob?
Yeah, I think the Bears game, Alan Lazard's back this week, which should be good. But I think I'm going to take a wait and see approach on that Aaron Rodgers. I actually am going to go Kirk Cousins here as well.
2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Cordero Patterson, James Conner, Devin Singletary, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Landry, Sterling, Shepard. Some of these are automatics, obviously. So we're going to go Adams and Brown, I would imagine, as our 2 wide receivers. But let's give a flex and 2 running backs. Bob?
Yeah, it's going to be Patterson, Connor. Wow, Landry had a really good week last week, and the Tampa Bay Bucks secondary is actually pretty good, but they did allow most of their points to the slot last week. So I'm actually going to go Patterson, Connor, and in my flex, I'm actually going to go Jarvis Landry.
Gladys?
Totally agree.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on down here. I also need a couple of tight end matchups, both in my league here. Andrews or Schultz, and then Schultz or Alberto. Gladys?
I like Schultz slightly more because I think he's all they got, and I think Connor, whatever his last name is going to throw it to him immensely. But Andrews is a good play. Wow. Schultz. I'm going Schultz the first one, and Albert O the second one. Albert O had a really good game. He was like second on his team in targets. I just think Broncos are going to just try to make up for last week and beat the shit out of the Texans. So Albert O and Schultz.
Sitting Andrews. Bob?
Coming in with the profanities first thing in the morning class.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shit.
I'm sorry.
This is a kids program.
This is a kids for the kids. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'll say shit too. Shit. I will never sit Mark. I don't think I'll ever sit Mark Andrews. So I'm going to go Mark Andrews. The Cooper Rush situation with Dalton Schultz last year, I think he had like 2 catches in the game, and Cooper Rush actually was very good throwing to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb last year in his lone start. So I actually think that for what it's worth, Cooper Rush might not be that terrible, but I am going to go Mark Andrews, and I actually am going to go Albert O. I think the KJ Hamler injury just gives him maybe a little boost, and I think he has a decent shot as a nice week. So I'm going to go Albert O over Dalton Schultz.
I agree. I'm going to sit Schultz on both occasions this week as well. I just want to see what the Cowboy offense looks like. Braden O'Connell, good morning, my man. Rex Burkhead or Kenyon Drake? We're looking at a RB6 situation here, Gladys.
RB6. Dominant.
Burkhead was in for Burkhead. Burkhead was in when they needed him. Even though they were talking up Damon Pierce, they used Burkhead in overtime exclusively. It's going to be a really tight game out here, and I don't know that they trust Damian Pierce, so I would go Burkhead just because I think he'll get more usage.
Pablo?
It's funny. I don't even know. I think J.K. Dobbins might play this week. I'm not 100% sure, but I think either way, I'm actually going to go Burkhead as well. I agree.
Yep. All righty, and then, of course, in PPR leagues, I would definitely give the edge to Rex Burkhead. Couple of defenses here: Packers, Dolphins, Broncos, Eagles, Giants, or Vikings. If we need an update on who's playing who, let me know. Bob, we'll kick off with you.
Defenses. Okay. Miami Dolphins are my start of the week on defense, so I'm going to go Miami Dolphins.
Against the Baltimore Ravens. Gladys?
I'm going to go Packers against Chicago. Low scoring game, predictable, and I'm not really sold on Chicago's offense yet.
I like that. There's some good matchups this week.
Wow.
All right. Moving on here. Another couple. Defenses, League 2, Saints, Rams, Bills, Cowboys, Eagles, or Dolphins? Bob?
Dolphins. I'm just going to keep saying Dolphins. Always.
Glad.
I have to agree with this one. I mean, no, I'm going to go Saints against Tampa. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll confuse things even more here. I'm going to go Bills easy over Tennessee. We saw last week that Derrick Henry is human, and Dontre Hilliard played pretty well. He's not going to play today, and I just don't trust the passing game at all in general in Tennessee, and certainly not against the Bills. And if Derrick Henry's not Derrick Henry, this game is in Buffalo, so I like the Bills at home off a huge win last week, of course.
Is that a Monday night game?
It is a Monday afternoon game.
Oh,
yeah, doubleheader this Monday.
Doubleheader, yeah. We got the Bills and Titans up first, and then Philadelphia and Minnesota.
Okay, thanks.
All righty. Kicker League, love it. Seibert, Boswell, Maher with Dallas again, I believe. Crosby, Ryan Suckup, and Carlson. Gladys, what's your kicker knowledge?
My kicker knowledge goes Young Hoko. That's my kicker knowledge right there.
Love it.
I draft him in every league. That's what I do. So I'm gonna go Mason Crosby, because maybe they'll get close enough that he gets nothing but field goals. They're not going to get in the end zone. Or I could say that for Chris Boswell too, though.
Bob?
So I could say that for Chris Boswell too. Sorry.
Yeah. So in my kicker, the thing I do, the stupid kicker analysis I do, the number one kicker on the week is Ryan Suckup. So I am actually going to go. I think Tampa Bay can still move the ball, but I think they might struggle a little bit to score touchdowns. So I think that means they're going to kick a little more field goals. And I think I'm going to go Ryan Suckup this week.
Love it. I'm going to go with Daniel Carlson. He's my dog. Plays Raiders are high-powered offense, playing indoors against Arizona. Should be a lot of points in this game. I'm going to go with Daniel Carlson. All right, another kicker question here. Seibert, Maher, Robbie Gould, Will Lutz, Greg Joseph, or Crosby. You want to stick with Crosby on this one, Gladys?
Yes, please.
Bob?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna go Bill Lutz here for the Saints indoors.
Yeah, I don't have any of these guys really high. I'm gonna go Greg Joseph, Minnesota kicker.
Again, folks, high-powered offense, indoors, if possible, is my level 1 kicker analysis. So high-powered offense, indoors when possible. If you're looking to stream somebody, that might help eliminate a little bit. Official Savage. So Gabe Davis is questionable and has 0 points for projected on ESPN. Do I go ahead and throw Robbie Anderson or Zay Jones in? I hope Gabe plays. I got Devonta Smith, but I don't like the matchup. In kind of a pickle. So before I even turn it over to you, Bob, Official Savage, we are a couple hours from kickoff, right? So we'll read this as soon as we hear about Gabe Davis full time. We will let you know. But of course, if he's out, I know it's Monday night, so this is the tricky situation here. But generally, if you're questionable to the point of doubtful, I might try to fade ahead of time if you're worried about it. That's just kind of my philosophy. And of course, if Gabe Davis goes off on your bench, c'est la vie. But if you're a little bit nervous about it, I would throw somebody in your lineup now, or at least get him into that deep flex position in case you have to pivot later on today or tomorrow. Bob?
Unless there's a bench spot that you can get like a Kyle Phillips or an Isaiah McKenzie type player. Yeah. I also think the Robbie Anderson start this week is not terrible. So I just brought up the injury to the Giants secondary. So I'm okay playing Robbie Anderson this week. And I think, but like I said, Kyle Phillips, if he's available, was very good last week. And, if you want to wait for Gabe Davis and pull up Kyle Phillips on your bench, go for it.
Gladys?
I like Zay Jones this week, actually. Christian Kirk is going against Kenny Moore, who actually practiced, so he's going to be covered unless you're in PPR. Zay Jones had the same amount of routes run last week, and he was targeted 9 times. I like Zay Jones.
Zay Jones has been quite productive, but sporadically. You could also say that about Robbie Anderson as well, who had a great game last week, but do we trust Baker Mayfield back to back there. That's going to be the question. And then Philadelphia, right? I mean, I expect another high powered offense. What I would recommend, this is what I would do personally, because you have Gabe Davis, who you definitely want to play if he's playing, and you have Devonta Smith both playing on Monday. Personally, what I would do, I know I don't love Devonta Smith either, but I also don't love Robbie Anderson or Zay Jones as an automatic play. What I would do personally is keep Gabe Davis in your lineup or just swap him and Devonta Smith. Pay attention throughout the day today. Pay attention tomorrow morning on Monday to get that update. If Gabe Davis plays, you put him in. If he sits and he's out, then you have Devonta Smith also able to go in and play there. So that gives you like a later flex swap possibility. So personally, I don't love the matchup either, but I do expect a lot of points in that game between the Eagles and Vikings. So I would put in Devonta Smith and swap out Gabe Davis on Monday if I needed to. All right, currently projected to win. You're fighting. Oh, good. Colton answering the questions for Official Savage in the chat room. It's a family affair, folks. Well done, Colton. Well done. Which two should I start here? D3, let's see, Destructor 21. Which should I start out here? Zeke Robinson. I'm going to go with James Robinson or Miles Sanders. Zeke, James Robinson, or Miles Sanders, Gladys?
James Robinson.
You seem apprehensive. Are you done?
Yeah.
That was like a question, like James Robinson.
James Robinson for sure. Zeke, because they said they're going to feature him.
Got it. Bob, you trust that offensive line in Dallas?
No.
With no quarterback?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Robinson and Miles Sanders here. So,
yeah, me too. Me too. My Miles Sanders slander has come to a screeching halt after he has already beat the over on one touchdown this season from last. So I'm going to ride Miles Sanders while I can. Again, I expect a lot of points with the Eagles and Vikings overall. James Robinson is the starter still in Jacksonville and looked quite good in week one coming off that Achilles. And man, you know, it might be the beginning of the end for Zeke, unfortunately, but that Dallas offensive line coupled with Cooper Rush, I don't love. So I'm actually going to fade Zeke as well there. All right, starter sit. Let's go with Matt Stafford or Kyler Murray, and then we have a running back question as well. Let's do one at a time here. Bob, Stafford or Murray this week?
Kyler Murray.
Gladys?
Matthew Stafford.
All right. Najee Harris or Chase Edmonds? Gladys?
I hate to sit Harris, but I think he's still injured, so I'm going to play him.
Going to play Edmonds or Harris?
No, Harris.
Okay.
Najee.
Yeah, this is a good one. I want to know PPR, non-PPR, but I'm just going to go Edmonds. I just think the Pittsburgh run game right now is broken, and I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky to get the ball to Najee in the pass game either. So I'm going to actually go Chase Edmonds here.
How dare you, Mitch Trubisky? By the way, 1-0, Mitch Trubisky. Bob?
Thank you. Yeah.
You want to throw that out there?
Yeah.
1-0, Mitch Trubisky.
Go Steelers.
Jeez. Good morning,
Oh.
Matt Stifler. What's happening? ETN, Curtis Samuel, my boy Jeff Wilson, Darnell Mooney, flex half PPR. This is a veteran question. Look at the settings, folks. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Quick reminder, we'll do it every morning like 38 times. Anybody that's new to the channel, anybody just tuning in, anybody that just hasn't had the coffee kick in and just forgot on accident, not a problem. Please make sure to give us your league settings. Otherwise, we're probably going to assume, well, Bob assumes half PPR. I assume full PPR. So please let us know like this in what position they need to be, a flex, half PPR, whatever. Maybe it's quarterback, super flex, or it's QB premium, or sorry, tight end premium, what have you. Please let us know any wacky scoring bonuses. That really helps us decipher through some players sometimes. Once again, Travis Etienne, Curtis Samuel, Jeff Wilson, Darnell Mooney, half PPR. Gladys?
I don't really like playing running backs in a flex, and Curtis Samuel had 11 targets last week. And that game is like 49.5 over under. I'm going to go Curtis Samuel.
Bob?
Jeff Wilson for me.
Curtis Samuel also had, I think, either 4 or 6 carries also. So kind of a quote unquote poor man's Deebo Samuel role there as well. So I like that a lot as well. I want to believe in my boy Jeff Wilson. I'm a Jeff Wilson homer. I've been like his only fan for like 6 years waiting for this. So I love me some Jeff Wilson. However, Curtis Samuel was very active last week. And remember, long-time relationship with Ron Rivera dating back to Carolina. So now he's finally healthy in Carolina there. That could be a sneak attack play. I'm sorry. Destructor, if we miss you going forward there, it might be a little bit tough. Let's just answer this one. To answer this one, he can piece it together. They can piece it together. Sorry to assume. Also, Mooney or Pitts, non-PPR. So I apologize if this is also connected to start 2 out of Zeke, Robinson, and Sanders. Let's maybe add Mooney and Pitts. And just for sake of argument, non-PPR, would you go with Pitts or Mooney, Bob?
I mean, Mooney was so bad last week, but I mean, it could have been the weather.
The game
right?
was trash.
I know. I understand. I get it. And Kyle Pitts wasn't even good last week either. So I think the Rams are going to bounce back offensively, and I think that's going to force the Falcons to throw. So I'm actually going to go Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I think that the Rams are going to bounce back. Jalen Ramsey's going to be on Drake London. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, clearly Marcus Mariota didn't need Kyle Pitts last week to almost beat the Saints, but probably will this week. Riley, good morning. Start 2. Riley has a few questions here. Let's bang out a few of these here. Start 2. Michael Thomas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and T. Higgins. Bob, do we have a 100% confirmation that T. Higgins is out of the concussion protocol?
Yeah, he's good to go.
Okay, go ahead. Give me 2 wide receivers here.
Amon-Ra and T. Higgins.
Okay, Gladys?
Amon-Ra and Mike Thomas.
Okay, in the future, Riley, could you please let us know if it's PPR or half PPR? With these 3 in particular, it doesn't sway too much per se. However, it does help us moving forward, especially with wide receivers. Next question for Riley, drop Pickens for Julio? Bob?
Yeah, sure. I actually don't mind it. I honestly don't believe that. I know George Pickens is a stud, but Mitch Trubisky is not going to support Claypool, Freiermuth, Deontay, and Pickens. It will not happen. And he was definitely 4th in the pecking order last week, plus Najee Harris. Give me the upside of Julio with the Godwin injury.
Love it. Gladys?
All right. I just wanted to put this out there. I'm like a Steeler diehard fan, but I would still go Julio. Sorry.
God, the legend of Julio. I want one more like 13 reception, 189 yards and 3 touchdown game. One more from Julio. That's it. Well, then you can ride off into the sunset.
The craziest part is Julio looked really good last week,
did.
and then he gets hurt again, and you're like, all right, it's just like, all right.
Dude, his lower body has I mean, he's a Hall of Famer already in my book, certainly a fantasy Hall of Famer, but his body has unfortunately let him down big time. Zach, full PPR, my man. Thank you so much for adding that for us. Start DK with the garbage weather, or pivot to Thielen or Mike Sanders. Assuming it's Miles Sanders, let's go with starting DK with the bad weather there in fake San Francisco and Seattle game, or you have the garbage weather there, pivot to Thielen. So are we going with DK, Thielen, or Miles Sanders in full PPR, Gladys?
I'm going to pivot from DK, not even just because of the weather, but because of Geno Smith. Although he did get
you mean 1-0 Geno Smith there, Gladys?
Yeah, that's
first place in the NFC West, tied for first place in the NFC entirely. Gladys?
Oh my God, that would be him. I'm going to go to Thielen. I'm going to go Thielen.
Bob?
Miles Sanders is going to absolutely crush today. I'm ready to go. Ready to be disappointed when he gets hurt in the first quarter.
That sounds like a Boston Scott game to me. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Official Savage back. I was a 17-point dog with Gabe Davis, projected 0 points. So again, to come back to this really quickly, I would just fade to Monday. You've got Smith, you've got Gabe Davis. That way you don't have to, you have a player to pivot with. Make sure though, you get your other wide receivers into the wide receiver position though, and you open that flex position so that you can pivot a little bit if you need to there. All right. Evan, good morning. Cortland Sutton or Christian Kirk, full PPR. This is a nice one here. Gladys needs just a second to gather
I do.
the thoughts
do.
there. So we're going
I
to
do.
kick it off with Bob. Full PPR, Sutton or Kirk?
Cortland Sutton against the Houston Texans is probably my start of the week. I think I'm obsessed with it. Plus, the Jacksonville weather situation might be a way to sway it just a little bit towards Sutton. But both these guys are awesome. But I am going to go Cortland Sutton.
I think that, yeah, I like man. Christian Kirk is going to get the touches, but again, going Sutton. I'm going Sutton. Weather, Sutton. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Got it. Boss Nos. I was just offered J.K. Dobbins. Looks like a trade question.
By the way, Sky, before you keep going, I feel like you're not even answering. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to cruise here. Yes, I'm a Sutton guy every time.
Right,
absolutely. Cool. I will start answering. I was trying to be polite and pass on my expert knowledge to you two instead, and not sway the votes here. But perhaps it's better with three people so that we can turn some of these tides. So I apologize, Bob, and of course, my deepest apologies to our followers here. All right, Boss Nos, I was offered, so it looks like a trade question. Let's flip the hat here just for a second. I was offered J.K. Dobbins for Elijah Moore in half PPR. Do I take that? J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Moore, half PPR, Bob?
Send us your whole roster. Honestly, we'll get back to this. Send us your entire. I need to see who's on your team, because you're trading a running back for a wide receiver here, and if you have depth at one position, it might make sense to flip it. But we need to see everything. So, Boss Nas, in my opinion, send us your entire roster, and we can evaluate in a couple minutes.
Where's the best place to send that roster?
Just send it to us here. Put it on the screen. It's all good. Leave a comment. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, in a vacuum. Just for kicks and wiggles. In a vacuum, what are you feeling right now?
I like the healthy player. Give me Elijah Moore.
Gladys?
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, depends what you need. Obviously, running back for wide receiver is a nice trade, but the roster definitely does matter. But in a vacuum, I'm also going to go Elijah Moore. It's hard to slow down Joe Flacco. All right, Bill, good morning. Full PPR. Mike Evans versus the Aints. Or Brandon Cooks versus the Broncos. This one's tough. Mike Evans is dominant against everybody other than the Saints. And Brandon Cooks is very, very good, but Denver's defense is also very, very good. Gladys, we'll kick it off with you and your Broncos.
No, I'm a Steeler girl. I just live in Denver.
Got it.
Brandon Cooks. There's no Justin Simmons. He's out. Mike Evans is going to have to go against Marshawn Lattimore, which you have to think Brady's not going to feed him as much. Plus Evans was hobbled this week. I'm going Cooks. Cooks in a few PPR. Who else are you going to throw to? Nico Collins? Yeah, I'm going Cooks.
Yeah, I'm not going to play Mike Evans on a bum wheel versus Marshawn Lattimore. So I am going to go Brandon Cooks.
I don't have the stats in front of me right now, folks, but Bob and I have covered it over the years on our show. Marshawn Lattimore has absolutely eaten up Mike Evans, and he's hobbled, and Brady is Brady, but not 100%, doesn't have Chris Godwin on the other side, may or may not have a full Julio Jones. Obviously, AB and Gronk are no longer there, so I also am going to fade that. I don't love the matchup with Brandon Cooks, but I think my boy Davis Mills gave lots of opportunities and should have beat the Colts last week, so don't be fooled there by the Texans. I think they at least put up a handful of points, and that should be through Brandon Cooks. Okay, Jonathan, Taysom Hill or Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. Need a smash play. Juju sold me. It's full PPR. Juju coming up with, I think it was 4.4 or something points in fantasy. Juju has not kicked it in yet with Kansas City, but if you played him on Thursday, you are having to go boom at this point. So Taysom Hill, who technically is a tight end, but more of a hybrid running back, or Dallas Goedert. Bob?
I'm gonna go Goddard. The Taysom Hill thing, he scored like a giant rushing touchdown. I'm not gonna bank on that every week. And he didn't run that many routes. Juwan Johnson ran more routes at the tight end position last week, so I'm actually gonna go Goddard.
Goddard for the same reason.
Yeah, same. Juwan Johnson. I'm glad you brought that name up, Bob. Last year, if y'all remember down the stretch, the last maybe 6 weeks or so, Juwan Johnson had come on hot, and I think he caught like 3 or 4 touchdowns over 2 or 3 games, and that was without Jameis, so if he can get that streak back with Jameis, I think he'll be just fine. But I agree. I know Taysom Hill's super fun. He also might have a rushing touchdown this week, but I can't guarantee it. However, if Alvin Kamara and or Mark Ingram are also out, Taysom Hill might be the starting running back. Who knows? It's kind of a weird one, but for now, we'll go Dallas Goedert. In Swift, we trust. Bob, any reason to fade Swift? A little bit beat up already in the season.
The offensive line problems, there is like the bunch, but Swift is a unique player. He's not going to be in between the tackles anyway. I'm not fading him completely, but I think he is probably a RB2 this week instead of your typical top 12 guy.
Got it, Gladys?
I trust Swift. He looks like Colin Farrell. Don't you think?
Colin Farrell. Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
And
detox.
Come for the fantasy advice. Stay for the compliments, folks.
Yeah,
so we
exactly.
are here all day to help you guys out.
Also, Gladys is actually a semi-professional doppelganger comparison.
I am.
So, like, if you
semi-professional, come on now.
That's insulting.
Exactly.
It's only week 2. It's only week 2. I want to feel you out first. You know what I mean? I don't want to assume. Cool. Zach, thanks, y'all. I appreciate you, Zach. Thank you so much. Zach, I'm sure you already are as a trusted follower and listener here, but please make sure to follow all 3 of us on Twitter. You can also make sure to subscribe right here to the Fantasy Football YouTube channel, but also the podcast as well, so you can catch us out of pocket when you are on the go. Appreciate you, brother. Good luck this week. All right. Detox is back here. Zeke over Penny, PPR, Superflex. Let's see. Sorry. SF is supposed to be a slog like last week. San Francisco is supposed to be a slog like last week with the Seahawk game there. Thanks for some context. Detox. Bob, we'll go with you. Zeke or Penny, PPR. Man, we want this to be much more of an exciting question than it is currently.
Yeah.
Preseason, this is a super fun question to dive into. Week 2.
I'm probably still going to go. I'm going to still go Zeke because San Francisco's pretty good against the run. And so is Cincinnati, to be honest with you. But I think I'm still going to lead Zeke in this one.
Gladys?
I know I said Zeke last time, but I'm going to pivot to Penny in this one because if it's a slog, if it's a rain fest out there in San Fran, they're going to run the ball anyway. Seattle's going to run the ball anyway. If it's wet, are they going to trust Geno? 1-0 Zeno tied for the NFC, to throw the ball? I don't think so.
Now we're talking.
I'm going to go Penny.
All right. I'm just looking right now here. Do we – let's see. I'm stalling. Ken Walker, is he a for sure start this week? Walker is practicing. Check back on Friday.
Yeah, I think he's a for sure start.
Okay, yeah, so if Ken – I mean, Penny and Walker are not Zeke and Pollard either way. I don't trust that offensive line in Dallas, but I do think Zeke, again, playing indoors just is, that climate's easy. If they feed him, they feed him. And look, Zeke's one of the running backs who could have 12 carries for 30 yards and be terrible and then accidentally fall in for 2 1-yard touchdowns in the red zone. That's what they're going to give him. So I think I'm going to lead Zeke on this particular question as well. Jonathan is back here. Let's see. We got a few names. Drake, Etienne, or Jeff Wilson. Was leaning Wilson since Seattle Rundy is not all that good this year. It's full PPR. Drake, so Kenyon Drake, Etienne, Wilson. Gladys?
Full PPR. I'm going to have to go Drake. Etienne's
Bob?
In that share. Yeah, Drake. I'm going Drake. Sorry.
No problem. Bob?
I guess this is a good question for you because, what do you think Jeff Wilson's going to give in the role? Do you think he's going to get? No, you don't think Jeff Wilson's going to be the guy today? Okay.
No, I do think he's going to be the guy today. In PPR, though, I would just like Etienne. I'll just jump you, Bob. I think I would rather go Etienne. James Robinson's going to probably get, let's call it 65-35 touches. But if you look back on the Jacksonville tape from last week, Etienne had 2 massive plays called back on penalty. He had 2 touchdowns he didn't score because of penalty. And he basically dropped a pass that would have been a walk-in touchdown. So again, it's not in the stat sheet. That's why we always kind of preach not to look at just numbers because the numbers don't always tell the truth on the full scheme. But if you look back on that game, Etienne should have had 2 touchdowns and a much, much bigger game statistically, probably outweighing James Robinson in the long run. So in a full PPR league, love my boy Jeff Wilson. And I've been a Kenyon Drake homer for no reason for 5 years too, but I don't necessarily trust that situation in Baltimore right now. So for me, in these three players, I'm going to go ETN overall, and then I'm going to go Jeff Wilson also. I think it might be a pick 2. I don't know what the TWL is. Maybe I'm not noticing an acronym if anyone has that. But if it's pick 2, for me, it's ETN and Jeff Wilson. If it's picking 1 in full PPR, then it's going to be ETN. Bob?
I just want to circle back to this for a second, though. Do you I want you to give us a little bit of a breakdown of your thoughts on the Jeff Wilson role today. Do you think he's getting 15 to 20 touches? Like, what's
Absolutely.
his thought? Okay.
Yeah, this game's going to be horrendous. The weather's not as bad. Look, it's the Bay Area, all right? I know they have rain. All right, I lived in the Bay Area 20 years. Rain in the Bay Area is nominal compared to the whole rest of the country, all right? I would be shocked if there's a third of the amount of rain that we saw last week, all right, in Chicago. There's no chance. So I think it's going to be Jeff Wilson. And look, just like every other 49ers running back, he's going to get 15, 20 carries if he can hold up, and you can't expect injuries. Unfortunately, my boy Jeff Wilson does have a long injury history also, but for 5 years, these guys have been dropping off back to Carlos Hyde, right? Raheem Mostert, now Elijah Mitchell. When they fall off, the first guy in every single time pretty much is Jeff Wilson. Last year, Elijah Mitchell went off in week 1, but Jeff Wilson was also in the mix until he got hurt. Shanahan wants him to succeed. He's a good clubhouse guy. He's been there forever. They re-signed him this year. I think he's going to have a huge role. It's just a matter of, what San Francisco can do on offense, because Trey was horrendous, obviously, last week. But Seattle's not going to be able to stop him. So I do think Jeff Wilson's going to be fine. But again, in a full PPR, if I'm picking one guy, it's ETN.
In the 4 games last year that Jeff Wilson started, he had 21 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown, 19 carries for 50 yards, 14 for 45 and 1, and 13 for 56. So it's literally up and down. Like, it sounds like he's probably good for 13 to 15 carries in the 50-yard range. He did have that one big game against Atlanta. I guess in this scenario, though, I agree. If it's full PPR, I'm fine with ETN. But I think it is start tool. I'm going to go ETN. I'm going to go ETN and Jeff Wilson.
Gladys, would you like to change anything here?
I'm just going to add Drake. All right, ETN. I said Drake. I'm going to add ETN. But if it's pick 2, right? We're picking. That's what we think.
I'm trying to decide here. So, okay, cool. We can move on. Jonathan, I hope that was just confusing enough for you to accidentally pick the right person and get a W this week. I apologize having to run through everything here. Ryan Mahoney, good morning. Full PPR. Leave Gabe Davis in and risk him not playing, or should I put in Claypool to be safe? I like the Claypool ad here. A lot of talk about Deontay Johnson, obviously, and Pickens is the new hotness, but let's not forget about Chase Claypool. So full PPR, Gabe Davis or Chase Claypool, and we're going to have to make that decision this morning here. Again, Gabe Davis playing on Monday night and questionable and maybe on the side of doubtful at this point.
If that's the case, then Claypool. If you don't have anyone else put in on Monday and you can't wait. I mean, if you don't play, if you put him in and he doesn't play, then you're getting a big 0. With Claypool, at least you'll get, maybe 2.2 points or whatever.
Bob?
New England last week allowed a league high 29 fantasy points from the slot. That's where Claypool played last week. So if you need a little nugget to nudge you in that direction, I think Claypool will have a decent week this week versus that slot defense versus the Patriots.
Yep, I'm gonna go that way as well. I'm gonna go Claypool here also, and just to kind of think outside the box, Ryan and anybody else in a scenario like this on a Monday, maybe take a look at your waiver wire, right? If you're in like a shallow league and there's a random, like let's say Hunter Renfrow, for example, is on waivers for some reason, and you might be like, okay, I could play Hunter Renfrow if I needed to, and you wanted to wait or something. Gabe Davis, you put into the IR slot or something like that. You could swap a guy out if you wanted to, but for me, I'm going to go Claypool also. And Bob is always there with the out wide and inside analysis. Bob, is there anywhere that the public could find information like that?
Actually, yes, there is on football.razzball.com, folks. By the way, we're super excited. We have a suite of fantasy data now on razzball.com. If you go over to the football.razzball site, you'll actually see a tab labeled fantasy football data. We have slot versus wide, defensive points per allowed. We also have a player usage data, by the way, which is amazing. We have targets per route run. We have targets per drop back. We have a bunch of usage data you need that you can use. And we also have an adjusted line yards, offensive line versus defensive line matchup metric. So if you're interested to see, all right, does my running back have a good matchup this week from their offensive line, defensive line? We now have it on the site. So go check it out on football.razzball.com.
Love it, my man. Also, I just want to acknowledge everybody in the chat. If you're joining us here, we're about 45 minutes into an hour in of the Sunday Live Week 2 Start Sit Show right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel. We also have a podcast as well, folks. I see 20 people viewing in right now. Currently, people come in and out constantly asking questions, dipping, coming back in, what have you. We appreciate you stopping by us. We know there's a lot of options every Sunday morning, so thank you so much for tuning in. That just boosted up 2 more people. So please make sure to also subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do have episodes dropping every single day during the week, both right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel for those of you that view. And then we also have the podcast as well that you can download, rate, and subscribe to also so you can catch us when you're on the go. All right, Jonathan here. Looks like we did this one already. Maybe we didn't catch up in time. We'll make it very quickly here. Start 2, Chubb, ETN, Jeff Wilson, Kenyon Drake. Full PPR was leaning Chubb and Wilson. Start 2, Chubb, ETN, Wilson, Drake. Gladys?
Chubb, ETN.
Chubb, Wilson for me.
ETN, Wilson. Yikes. 2 votes for ETN and Wilson, so maybe that's the –
Wait, you're skipping – why are you skipping on Chubb?
Full PPR, Kareem Hunt is the one getting the fantasy work. I love me some Nick Chubb. He's like my 3rd favorite running back in the entire league. But in full PPR, I just think there's going to be more work. And Jeff Wilson's not going to have any competition if he doesn't get hurt. ETN and full PPR is a no-brainer for me. And Kareem Hunt is the full PPR guy in Cleveland.
Okay. Fair enough.
Malachi, Knox, or Higbee, Bob?
I hate Dawson Knox right now.
Hey, look, don't make it personal. Don't make it personal because you used to love Dawson Knox.
No,
I have it personal week 2.
I get that, but I'm going to. So, and you can't stop me from making it personal. So, no, it's just that. So Tennessee has been very good against tight ends over the last year or so, and week 1 they were pretty good too. Atlanta, I just don't know how much should we think? I'm trying to look up my verse expectations stuff I put in here. Yeah, I don't really know if either one of these guys necessarily has a great matchup, but I guess give me Higbee.
Gladys?
I think that I'm going to go Higbee. I think if you pick Knox, who's going to be in there blocking, you're going to see him on the field a lot, and then you're just going to get pissed at him because he's not going to get any catches. So go Higbee.
You're looking at the angry face last week. Knox had 1 catch, and I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, at least he got paid, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Awkward. I'm gonna go Higbee as well. I think the Rams bounce back big time. All right. Kamara is out. Apparently, we always trust our listeners, but while we're viewing, Bob, can I get a confirmation, please, on Alvin Kamara officially out? It's a split with Ingram and Tony Jones there, so I might have a chance for Taysom Hill to get some carries. So Jonathan's kind of piggybacking on starting Taysom Hill potentially over Dallas Goedert. Super appreciate the insight, my man. We're just going to confirm that. Of course, we trust y'all, but we want to make sure we got boots on the ground on our side. So thank you so much for tuning in. As Bob is confirming that, we have Matt Stifler back. Are you guys worried about? Nice. Defense shouting. Go ahead, Bob.
Sorry. Yeah. Nick Underhill is the one who recently posted. He just said that he doubts Kamara plays. So it sounds like Kamara will not play today. And it looks like Mark Ingram will probably be your starter.
Okay. There you go. Bob, we got some DB knowledge here. Okudah shadowing Curtis Samuel. Are you worried about that? He wasn't covering the number 1 wide receiver in Philly last week, but shut down Smith.
Well, first off, Gladys runs our IDP stuff. So if anything, she's our expert. So why don't we kick it to Gladys first? I actually do have thoughts too, but go ahead.
I am not worried about Okudah shadowing. I think that with the Simmons out, the alignment is messed up. So no, I'm not worried about Okudah shadowing Curtis Samuel at all. And yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Bob.
No, you go ahead. I was just going to say, listen, another thing too is Curtis Samuel's a slot guy mostly. Right. So you're not going to see you're going to see a lot more zone concepts in the middle of the field versus on the perimeter. And the other thing too is this is something I've noticed over the last few years. Less and less teams use a lot of man, and that's what you need for shadow coverage. Most teams are running mostly zone. According to PFF data, About 25% on average is about man and about 75% zone now, except for like the Bill Belichick's of the world. And the Philadelphia Eagles are a heavy zone defense. They are a very zone focused defense. So I guess this week against the Lions, yeah, I'm not concerned about the shadow coverage there. Except for Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans. Now that's what I'm concerned about.
Right, of course. But look, like last week, for example, I thought maybe Jair Alexander would be all over Jefferson, and he wasn't. So it doesn't always happen that way. So Gladys handles the IDP. Bob has a slot versus wide coverage.
Should have been.
He absolutely should have been. And the rest of the league will have it that way now, but he wasn't. And he went nuts. I mean, let's shut down a 32-year-old Adam Thielen. Good work. KJ Osborne was ineffective, so that at least worked. Yeah, oops. Boss Nos. My receivers are Pittman, Waddle, Claypool, Julio, and more. My running backs are Akers and okay.
This is from earlier.
Akers and Saquon. Yeah, this is that trade. We're gonna have to piece all this together.
Okay.
Boss Nos. So if you could please, this would be more helpful, I think. If you could please reach out to Bobby Lamarco on Twitter at Bobby Lamarco. Shoot him a DM on Twitter or hit a comment, tag him, whatever, and you're either a screenshot of your roster or shoot him the names. We could piece that together for you. I don't want to dodge your question. I do want to put some intention and thought into it, though, and we have a lot to get into right now, and it's kind of hard to scramble here. So please reach out to Bobby Lamarco on Twitter at Bobby Lamarco. Send him your roster, and we can work through that. Thank you so much for tuning in there.
Send screenshots. It's the best way to do it.
Great. Guitar Hero, love it. I haven't played in probably 20 years, but man, for like 6 months, one summer, you used to call me Fire Fingers. Jerry GH, Henderson Jr., Penny, half PPR, worried about Walker and Akers taking away from their work. Again, I expect Akers to pop in a little bit more. I also expect Walker to get work, assuming that he plays. So both these guys have a little bit of some hot heels here, but both of them are definitely the starter heading into the week. Gladys?
If you're worried about them taking away from work, I would go with the game where you are expecting the team to score the most points. So I would go with Henderson and not worry that much about Akers. It doesn't seem like Akers is on McVay's good side yet. And they have more potential to score points. Therefore, he should get more of the attention, as it were.
Bob?
Darrell Henderson was the number one running back last week when it came to routes run the dropbacks amongst running backs. So 76%. So he's on the field as a workhorse. He also was top 5 in rush share last week, meaning of the total team carries. This guy was used as a workhorse. He's got a bounce back week against Atlanta. I'm all in on Henderson this week.
Got it. Love it. All right. Jefferson 23.
Sky, I got to stop you. You have to answer. Come on, answer. Just at least say Henderson or Penny. Just
all right. Henderson.
There you go.
I thought I talked to it earlier. What's up? Thanks for the help last week. With the news of Gabe Davis, would you be willing to take a chance on him not playing on Monday Night Football or start Christian Kirk or Curtis Samuel? For me, it's Curtis Samuel. Bob, I'm answering right off the bat. Curtis Samuel.
I love it.
Thank you very much.
Sky, we value your opinion. So
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Would you like to give your opinion as well on this one?
No, actually, I'm just going to skip this one. So I'm going to go Christian Kirk, actually.
Gladys?
Christian Kirk.
Cool. And again, Jefferson 23, that was Curtis Samuel from me.
Calvo. You're answering twice? No, we just want you to answer once.
Right? Sorry.
Don't push it, all right?
Calvo. Pick one. Jamal Williams, Rex Burkhead, Paris Campbell. Wow. Look at this second flex position we're filling up here. Gladys, go ahead. Jamal Williams. Let's again, we can't assume, but if we don't have anything to go with, let's assume it's half PPR. Jamal Williams, Rex Burkhead, Curtis Samuel, and it's obviously in a flex position here with the running back wide receiver question.
Okay, so Paris Campbell will probably get more plays since Pierce and Pittman are out. Mm-hmm. And Indy's going against Jacksonville. Half PPR, I'm going to go Paris Campbell. If it's a non-PPR, I'm going to go Jamal Williams falling into the end zone, letting Swift do all the work until they get to the red zone, and then Jamal Williams takes over. So I would go Jamal Williams, but he's not going to get that many touches. Paris Campbell.
Up.
Yeah. I guess in this scenario, do we really believe that Rex Burkhead's going to continue to get most of the carries? Like, I don't know. Against Denver, give me Rex Burkhead.
Yeah. I feel like you just talked yourself out of that. And then you're like, do we really trust Rex Burkhead? Definitely not. Let's go ahead.
Let's play.
Okay.
I
have to pause here for 1 second. You have to have seen the Stephen A. Smith video that's gone around this week of him. I mean, he's hot air anyway, but I'll say that for another question. But he on national TV, like he does, he goes on his rants that mean nothing. And they literally said, who do you think scores the most points in all of the teams all of last week? And he's like, the Chargers, of course. High-powered offense, the Chargers. And they go, okay, great. Next question. Chargers, Raiders. Who do you think is going to win the game? And he picks the Raiders. So just Bob, I felt like that was like a kind of a Rex Burkhead. No chance. Go with him.
Don't you dare compare me to Stephen A. Smith. When it comes to football, that guy has no idea what's happening.
It's bad.
You know,
it's bad.
It's,
Sorry,
yeah.
we shouldn't bash anybody. I just thought you saying that like flashed it into my face. I apologize. No offense to you, Bob. I'm offensed. I'm offensed. I'm offensed. All right. I don't want to get fired here, so let me put in my opinion. I'm actually going to go with Rex Burkhead also. I like the Jamal Williams analysis of him getting the 2-yard touchdowns is true. Paris Campbell's super fun. I've wanted him to succeed like everybody else. I'm actually an Austin Doolin guy, though, this week. Nice. 6 targets last week. Dropped a big one. I like Austin Doolin this week. He's kind of my sleeper. I'd rather go him over Paris Campbell. But in this particular case, let's go with the Rex Burkhead. And Jefferson coming back over the top. Just throwing out some respects there. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
so
Jefferson.
Turkey. All right, let's go here with now hold on. Let me just zoom in. Yep, Deshaun Kaiser jersey there. Just want to be accurate on that. AJ Dillon, Michael Carter, Kenyon Drake, full PPR. Already have Aaron Jones. Thank you for the context. Do we want to start both Packers running backs here? Or do you want to go AJ Dillon over Aaron Jones and somebody else? Or are we going to go Aaron Jones, Michael Carter, Kenyon Drake? A lot to unfold here. Full PPR, Turkey. This is a great way to lay out this question. Thank you so much. Gladys, we'll turn to you.
I'm going AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones because AJ Dillon's going to be like the passing running back, and Aaron Jones is going to be like the running back. Do it. You're going to be fine.
Baba?
AJ Dillon. Yeah, I think Cleveland's actually pretty good against the run, and I think Michael Carter's still going to split with Breece Hall, and I'm going to go AJ Dillon, especially because I think the Packers need to lean on these running backs and I think Packers should win. So I think AJ Dillon gets more carries in the second half.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to both Packers running backs. First of all, the Bears in Green Bay, like, I know Aaron Rodgers has been talking shit for years and whatever, but like the Bears are in trouble. Aaron's pissed. They played like shit. I feel like the Packers have opened like this like 3 years in a row. Everyone freaks out, and then they post a 40 burger on whoever's next. I think the Packers bounce back in a big way. I think both running backs for the Packers are good here. And Aaron Jones last week ran, I believe, either the most or second most routes on the entire team last week, basically from the slaughter out of the backfield. So I like Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. All right. Wembley, last question here, Bob, and then I'm going to turn it over to you for a second here. Wembley, pick 2. We got Claypool, Jacoby Myers, James Robinson, or Darnell Mooney. It is wide receivers, so let's go with, if it's different from half to full PPR, let us know. Otherwise, let's pick 2 here. Claypool, Myers, it's a flex. James Robinson and Darnell Mooney. Bob, we'll start with you.
If it's full PPR, God. I want to know what's going on in Jacksonville. Can someone please? I just saw a latest thing, and the guy posted the weather report. It looks bad, which means that the running games will probably be more leaned into. So if it's standard, I actually want James Robinson. In full PPR, though, give me Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool.
I'm going to go James Robinson and Chase Claypool.
I like the Jacoby Myers hanging around here is like frying my brain.
Well, Jacoby Myers is like a safe play. Like, he's probably going to get you.
He's not somebody anybody wants to start in their roster, but he is 5 for 50. His issue is he doesn't score the touchdowns. I feel like James Robinson is the play with the weather, Jacksonville, him being the lead back. I'm a big time ETN guy in full PPR for sure, but James Robinson still played quite well. Do I trust Darnell Mooney? I love me some Darnell Mooney as an individual, but I don't know that I trust the Bears today. I'm going to go Claypool and James Robinson, assuming you have flexibility there on your roster spots. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Gladys and I are going to get just a quick sip of water. I'm going to turn over to Bob here to give a shout out to one of our friends in Good Sports.
Yeah, so first off, we want to tell everyone our Sunday live shows are brought to you by, we actually work with Good Sports. Good Sports is a charity organization that helps provide equipment, sporting equipment to youth organizations to help kids play sports. So just on the screen, you'll see a bunch of things about how many states have actually been impacted, how many kids have been given equipment, how much equipment has been given over the last few years. So we're excited to partner with Good Sports. 10% of any donation that you give to us in the show, you can actually, we will give back to Good Sports. So it's definitely a good cause. Basically, all you got to do, first off, anybody who could subscribe would be fantastic. Join the Razzball Fantasy community. We have a bunch of shows during the week. If you ever need to get an answer right away, we also have an option where you can use that PayPal option as well. So if you want to hold up your phone to that QR code, you could donate there and submit your question. We'll actually answer your question right away instead of waiting through the chat when we answer. We get to every question we can, but more important, the focus here is, we want to give back to the community. So whatever donation you give to us, we kick it over to 10% to Good Sports. So we're super excited about that. Their partnership, and we appreciate anything you're willing to do because we'll be doing this all season long. Back to you, Scott.
All right, appreciate you. I've worked with youth sports for 20 years. Nothing better than seeing the kids out on the field, the court, wherever. So please help us out. And as Bob had mentioned there, you can hit that QR code up at the top on your screen, and you can send a little PayPal contribution donation if you like to skip the line. We are about 5 or 10 minutes I don't want to say behind because we're cruising as quickly as we can, but when you drop a question here, it might take a minute or two for us to get to your question. So please hang out with us and we can get crushing here. Matt Stifler is back. All right, last one. Kirk Dillon, A-Rob, Allen Robinson. In the second flex spot, full PPR, I have DJ Moore in the flex spot. So I know DJ Moore is like an automatic player that you put in PPR, but last week was horrendous. And the ghost of Robbie Anderson showed up with Baker Mayfield. So it might be silly, but I'm going to throw it out there. Is DJ Moore automatic in this group? Or do you want to swap out two of them maybe? Again, Kirk, Dillon, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. And instead of automatically playing DJ Moore, let's just say pick two. Kirk, Dillon, A-Rob, and DJ Moore. Pick two, Gladys.
Kirk and Dillon. Kirk and Dillon.
Sitting DJ Moore. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Bob, are you sitting DJ Moore?
No. I'm in on DJ Moore this week. I like his matchup. The Giants secondary is down one of their key starters, so I think he's going to be fine. I think the real problem for me is that those three options are good. Kirk, maybe we default away from Kirk because of the weather situation. Gladys brought up Kenny Moore earlier today, as well as a good slot corner. Dillon, what's really funny? These 1B running backs, I feel like you never look at their numbers and you're like, oh man, he's never going to get 20 plus carries. He's never going to have 8 targets in a game. But Dillon always, it doesn't matter, right? Dillon finds the end zone all the time. Yeah. So I think Allen Robinson, though, does have a monster bounce back this week against the Falcons. And in a full PPR league, I am going to go Allen Robinson with DJ Moore.
Man, I want to go DJ Moore too, and I'm going to, only because it's full PPR. But I'm actually going to go Dillon here as well. So I'm going to fade Allen Robinson and Kirk. Both a lot of situations I want to see through. DJ Moore really made me nervous last week, but it is only week 1, so I'm going to follow my own advice and not overreact. But if he stinks again, he's on my bench. He's on my bench. All right, let's move ahead. Move ahead here. Anthony, Bob will go to you on this one. Logan Thomas, my man, bouncing back off the injured reserve, coming in hot last week. Albert O, also a handful of checkdowns from Russell there. Logan Thomas, Albert O, nice streaming tight end options.
Give me Albert O. We talked a little bit about Hamler's injury. I think Albert O gets a nice work. I'm excited to see Logan Thomas. I think Logan Thomas is a nice stash. I think he's going to be really big in the second half of the season. But I'm going to go Albert O. Week 2.
Gladys?
I'm going to go Logan Thomas in a game that has like the third highest over under. Detroit
Love
is
it.
only favored by 2.5. I'm going Logan Thomas.
Love it. Also, Logan Thomas has the QB3 from last week, folks. That's right. QB3, Carson Wentz throwing him the ball there. So let's go with Logan Thomas as well. All right, Matt Silva, really appreciate your insight. Get hyped for game day. Matt, really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. We'll catch you next week as well, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 4 a.m. Hawaii time. Okay.
8 Mountain. 8 Mountain.
8 Mountain, great.
Right.
9 Central, wherever you're at.
So, right, midnight in Japan. We have it all.
Exactly. We
Whatever
got you,
you
folks.
need, we got it.
Yeah. If you're in Stockholm, Sweden, and it's 11:30 p.m., please feel free to tune in right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube show and podcast. Matt, best of luck, my man. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jerry's back as well. Thank you. Appreciate the help. Jerry, we appreciate you. Best of luck on your Guitar Hero. I'm in a nationally touring band. We played a gig last night, had a wonderful time. I'm a big musician nerd myself, so best of luck. Have a lot of fun. Anthony is back for a second question here. Start 2 full PPR. Oh boy. CeeDee Lamb gives me a little bit of anxiety, but I'm going to get past it for this question. CeeDee Lamb, Jarvis Landry, Isaiah McKenzie popped off last week with the Gabe Davis news. So again, Gabe Davis questionable, possibly doubtful for Monday Night Football. Isaiah McKenzie is obviously his immediate replacement. I'll jump the line here. That's an obvious. He's one of them. Then are you going to go with Lamb or Landry? Gladys will go with you.
I'm going Isaiah McKenzie and Jarvis Landry because CeeDee Lamb was dirt last week.
And it gets worse with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Bob?
Okay, so I just want to go on record. CeeDee Lamb last year in the one game with Cooper Rush, 6 receptions, 112 yards. So I just think Cooper Rush, I think CeeDee Lamb, and that was with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and all those guys. And I think Cooper Rush, we don't know about Gabe Davis. Listen, Isaiah McKenzie split time with Jamison Crowder. I understand that maybe it makes sense if Gabe Davis is out, you play Isaiah McKenzie. I get all that. But the Bucs have been a pass funnel defense to the slot, so I like Landry in that state. So I'm actually going to go the safer route, and go Lamb and Landry.
I have a question. Do you think that CeeDee Lamb is a wide receiver 1? Do you think that he did so well last year because he had Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup?
So the problem with Lamb is that he played a lot in the slot last year because they had Gallup and Cooper on the outside, and most of his snaps came on the inside, and now he's being asked to play on the outside. And the problem is, if you look at Lamb's stats when he actually plays on the outside, believe it or not, his points per game drops.
Yeah.
He wasn't really as good. So I get what you're saying here. But I think the Cooper Rush situation, I think if we look at where he was last year and how he performed, I think Lamb will be fine. I think Isaiah, what worries me about McKenzie is that he actually split work with Crowder. If Gabe Davis does play, if he doesn't catch that touchdown last week, he was a complete dud. Right. And I'm not ready to just put him in my lineup for CeeDee Lamb. And Landry, I think, is the biggest, one of the most underrated surprises. Yeah. Everyone thought it was Olave or Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas, he scored the touchdowns, but Jarvis Landry was the guy. Michael Thomas overshadowed him in fantasy points because of 2 touchdowns. If you look at just the pure targets and yardage, it was Landry. And last week, the Bucs really got beat up on the inside. So I think I actually don't mind Landry as a PPR asset.
I'm going to go Landry and Bill's wide receiver.
Nice.
Bill, PPR. Josh Jacobs versus Arizona. Darrell Henderson versus Atlanta. Bill, I don't expect everyone to do this, but I so appreciate that you put up the actual matchups here. We have all of our charts and our psychoanalysis, spreadsheets that we all look at all day long. But I so appreciate that you just put it right up here on the screen. It's very helpful. So Gladys, we'll start with you here. Bill wants to know, in a PPR league, Henderson versus the Falcons, Jacobs versus the Cardinals.
I'm going Darrell Henderson versus the Falcons because Darrell Henderson played both running back and wide receiver 3, 4, and Atlanta, their secondary isn't that great. Their team isn't that great. Let's be honest. So, but neither is Arizona. But I'm going with Henderson.
Baba?
I like both these guys, to be honest with you, a lot this week. But I am going to go Darrell Henderson. I think this guy was like a workhorse. So I think you got to take that for what it's worth and go Henderson.
Yeah, I've been team hashtag fade Jacobs for 5 years, and I gotta keep it strong.
When Josh Jacobs was playing youth football, Sky was like, "I'm off. I'm going with the other team." So.
Totally don't care. I will say though, like I'm a super fan of him. As a human being, assuming he hasn't done nasty stuff I don't know about, like the rest of these guys. But like living out of a truck and with his pops traveling and being a walk on and getting through Alabama and those 9 5-star running backs and making it to the pros, whatever. Like I'm rooting for the kid as like a human being. As a fantasy player, I've been over the hype for years. I'm not into it. Now he didn't split work last week with Zamir White, which I had predicted all summer long. I wrote like 3 articles about it. I did 5 podcasts about Zamir White. That is coming, and he's on all of my deep bench dynasty leagues for sure. Zamir White will be the guy next year, but Josh Jacobs is the guy until then. That being said, I have to stay true to the brand and fade him and go with Darrell Henderson.
Attaboy.
All right. Oh, man. Being someone who lives in Oregon and down the street from Portland and Blazer country, this Terminator Damian Lillard icon here is pretty gangster. Yeah, that's really dope. Cordero Patterson, Kareem Hunt, or Josh Jacobs in a PPR. For me, this is Kareem Hunt. Bob? Give me Patterson.
I am the worst with Kareem Hunt. He's like my kryptonite because the guy gets he just scores touchdowns. Like that's what he does. And it's hard to, but if you look at his usage, it's not great. I mean, he gets 15 touches usually, but I have a hard time sitting. I'm going to actually go Cordell Patterson this week.
Yes. I knew nobody did. Gladys?
I'm going Cordell Patterson. Isn't the other running back hurts? He's not in, right, Bob?
Damian Williams. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
I'm going
Williams out. Yeah. Tyler Algier might get some more work. I think he was inactive.
He was a healthy scratch
last week.
Yep.
But
Breaking
Williams
news.
was the actual starter. Bob, go ahead.
Breaking news: Alvin Kamara has officially been ruled out today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we expected that. So can you dive a little bit deeper on that? Because I know that Mark Ingram was also questionable. Is Mark Ingram 100% the starter right now, or is he still questionable as well?
Yeah.
Can you just get some confirmation on that?
Yeah, I'll get confirmation. It sounds like he's in though.
All right, Adam. Javonte Williams, Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore. I need 1 for wide receiver, and I need 1 for flex. Gladys, Williams, Sutton, Moore, 1 for wide receiver, 1 for flex.
Cortland Sutton, a wide receiver. Wait, so
2 Broncos and DJ Moore.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go with both Broncos because I really don't trust DJ Moore at all. So I'm going to go Cortland Sutton for wide receiver and Javonte Williams for your flex. So when they score like 3,000 points, both of them will score.
Bob?
There you go. Denver guys. I'm going both Denver guys.
Samesies. Broncos, Tree-peat. It's full PPR. Wembley, thank you. Jefferson, for what? Yes, sir.
Sorry, I wanted to something that came up too at the Jacksonville game today. The Vegas lines dropped 4 points, so it went from 44.5 to 40. They have currently said that there's 15-mile-an-hour winds is not that big of a deal, but it looks like moderate rainfall. But that total dropping 4 points means something there.
Well, and Florida rain is just a different beast. So when it rains in Florida,
I gotta tell you a funny story. So this is how ridiculous person I am. I was DMing some of the Jaguars guys that we know, that we haven't talked to in a year. I just DM like, hey man, how's it going? I have a quick Jaguars question. I'm trying to get boots on the ground for this podcast.
Bob's full fantasy football guerrilla warfare. He's infiltrating for sure.
Yeah, it's not good. Not healthy. But yeah, I haven't even heard back, and I feel awkward. I was like, "Hey man, how's it going? How's the weather in Jacksonville?" Strictly, I'm not like it's totally the worst part. I'm not just checking in. I'm like, I need to know if Jacksonville is going to be bad.
See, Bob, look, I'm not going to give you dating advice. Okay, you're a grown man. I know the missus is side by side helping you with your analysis right now. But what I would say is they probably can feel that it's not a, hey man, what's up? They're like, you know what? Bob's in it just for the goods. That's not fair. You gotta massage him on a Wednesday. Hey man, miss you guys. Hope you're well. Boom. Friday night. Yo, I heard it's raining in Jacksonville. Can you give me some local insight? Kind of massage them a little bit, and then hopefully by Sunday morning they'll get back to you.
I'm going to start massaging every person in every state that has a football team, just so when the time comes, I'll be ready to go.
Hey,
it's like, oh, Bob, great to hear from you.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what got Deshaun Watson in trouble.
Okay.
True.
Moving on. All right.
On to the next one.
Once again, folks, we are a family show here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel and podcast. All right, Jefferson 23 is back. Running back 2 here, half PPR. Jacksonville. Whoa. Perfect timing. Jaguars here, half PPR. James Robinson or ETN in a half PPR. Maybe I'll fade my boy ETN. I love me some Travis Etienne, but a half, I think James Robinson is going to get more work. I will go with J-Rob. Gladys?
J-Rob.
J-Rob.
Trifecta for J-Rob, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these guys. Jack K. Looks like he came in a couple different times, my man. Maybe it didn't load for you right away, but same question here. Terry McLaurin or Michael Thomas? Again, we can't assume. If you're new to the channel, you're just popping in, please. A healthy reminder, folks. Give us half PPR, full PPR, any bonus scoring, whatever. It really helps us decipher between guys like this. Bob, what are you feeling? Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin for me.
Ooh, interesting. QB3, Carson Wentz has got you in his grasp. Gladys?
Obsessed.
I think if it's a half PPR, I'm going Terry McLaurin. But if it's standard, I'm going Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas either way for me. All right. Full PPR, Kenyon Drake. A lot of Kenyon Drake questions. Loving this. Enjoy, me and the 7 other Kenyon Drake fans, enjoy this while you can, because we won't be hearing from him in a week or two. Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, Mark Ingram, the starting running back for the New Orleans Football Saints, or DK Metcalf, pick 2, and Drake or Wilson in another league. All right, let's do one at a time here. Let's go Kenyon Drake, Edmonds, Ingram, or DK. Pick 2 of those in full PPR, Gladys.
Yikes. I'm going to go full PPR, DK and Chase Edmonds.
Bob?
I'm going to go Edmonds and DK, and then I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson on the second one.
Dude, you just jumped the line.
Bob,
You weren't doing the second one. Come
it's
on.
Kind of rude. It's kind of rude. I hadn't even answered yet.
I need to go to the bathroom, so that's fine. All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, boy. The Tampa dominance against the run is like penetrating my brain, and I can't get by it right now. But Mark Ingram has this crazy, even at 32 now, he's got this. He's going to have a random 18 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns game. I feel it for some reason. I got to go Mark Ingram, and I'm also going to go Chase Edmonds. So I'll take 2 running backs there. And then Bob had already rudely skipped the line, so Gladys will go back to you here for Kenyon Drake or Jeff Wilson in another league. And again, let's assume it's full PPR also.
Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson.
With confidence.
Jeff Wilson for me as well. Sky Empire. Love it. Who should I start at a flex? DK, Robbie Anderson, Adam Thielen, or Lazard? Adam Lazard will be playing today, out last week, of course. DK, Robbie, Adam Thielen, Lazard, full PPR, guys.
Full PPR, I'm going to go. If Lazard is playing and he's healthy, I'm going Lazard. Otherwise, I'm going DK, full PPR.
Same on the first part. Lazard, assuming he's healthy and playing and active, I think Rodgers is looking for anybody he can trust outside of the running backs. And I mean, Lazard could have straight up 12 targets in this game. If not, I actually am kind of feeling a bounce back for Adam Thielen. Ooh. He had Jair Alexander, and at this point of his career, Adam Thielen cannot handle that battle. I think the whole league was like, we knew Justin Jefferson was good, but holy shit. The number one guy will be on Justin Jefferson moving forward. Adam Thielen, I think, gets a little more, room to breathe. So I'm going to take Lazard also. But if Lazard is a late scratch or something, I'm going to go with Adam Thielen there. I'm sorry, Bob. Why don't you jump in real quick if you'd like to here? Start 1 at the flex here. DK, Robbie Anderson, Thielen, or Lazard, full PPR.
Adam Thielen.
My man. All right. Anthony here back. Stevenson or Dobbins?
Is Dobbins healthy?
No.
We've had a lot of Kenyon Drake questions.
Dobbins is out today. He's not going to play.
Okay, I'm going to go Stevenson then.
I am going to agree with Gladys actually on this one. I'm going to go with.
Now, I think I'm actually gonna have to agree with Gladys as well.
Folks, you come here for the entertainment. You stick around for the high intensity analysis. We'll go Ramondre Stevenson here across the board. All right, Aiden wants to know. First of all, I'm a sports psycho. All of us are. This is one of the most impressive logos I've ever seen.
It is.
Trivia question that anybody can use when you're hanging out the bar with your friends, you're at a cocktail party, whatever. The only city of all the United States professional teams, any sports or whatever, the only city with all of the teams using the same exact color scheme is Pittsburgh, with the Pirates, the Steelers, and the Penguins. This is a super incredible logo with the Penguins, the P for the Pirates, and the Steelers, of course.
That's
awesome there. All right. Awesome. Aiden, PPR, Taysom Hill, Rex Burkhead, Kyle Pitts. This is, hold on, I want to pause and just read this question. Can you believe we're asking this question in week 2 of fantasy football? Taysom Hill, Rex Burkhead, who weren't drafted in any leagues ever, and Kyle Pitts, who went in like the top of the 3rd round. This is easy for me. It's Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to bounce back in a big way.
Pitts.
Marcus Johnson wants to know flex spot, CeeDee Lamb, Jeff Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. We got a couple 49ers and a Cowboy here. Full PPR, CeeDee, Wilson, Ayuk. Gladys?
I don't like Ayuk if it's raining or if it's a bad weather game, because I think then they'll use Deebo Samuel as both the running back and the wide receiver. Jeff Wilson, I don't like CeeDee Lamb at all. We know that. So I'm going Jeff Wilson by default.
Bob?
I feel like this is one of those things where like I've been saying Jeff Wilson constantly.
I know.
And
I just had the same thought.
And it's not
Ty Davis Price, 18 carries.
Yeah,
I know it's
going to be that kid Mason's going to come in and just dominate, and I'm just going to be like, well, Jeff Wilson got 10 carries for 45 yards, which is fine, but that's it. Yeah.
Come on, Kyle, throw us a bone, Kyle.
I know. Seriously, I don't know. I just think, in my opinion, it makes the most sense to start Jeff Wilson here. Because I think Cincinnati's actually a pretty decent defense.
Same.
So I actually am going to go Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, for me too. Like, look, this is a thing where obviously you don't want people going off on your bench. Like, duh. But this is a thing with CeeDee Lamb. Didn't go off with Dak. The Cowboys didn't look right last week with Dak. He's out now. Cooper Rush. They get Cincinnati now. He has nobody else to take heat off of him. And yes, he was the number 2 to Amari Cooper, but so many wide receivers are better as a number 2 option than they are as a number 1 for a number of reasons. I think CeeDee Lamb's great individually, but not sure it's the best work. So I would rather him have a big game against a good defense with a bad quarterback and then be like, okay, he's automatic moving forward, than hoping it's going to happen and not. So I'm going to lean Jeff Wilson too. Bob, up to you.
Julio Jones has officially been ruled out today. So Julio Jones is out with Chris Godwin. So that means that Mike Evans might see a lot of Marshawn Lattimore. Russell Gage becomes an interesting, maybe a late round, little DFS, still sprinkle him into your lineup. Rashard Perriman is expected to get the start on the opposite side. Talk about DFS dart throw. Let's get some Rashard Perriman in our lives. Let's do it.
Rashard Perriman I think he's scored a touchdown in every game he's started with the Buccaneers, which is insane. Damn it. Sorry, this like hurts my feelings. Like, Julio, bro, I made a point of drafting you in like the 13th, 14th round, just out of respect. Literally. I didn't even expect to play you this season. I was just like, out of respect, bro, you're on my squad. I might leave him in as a flex just as a sign of, damn it. All right, I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt. Now, I answer this question. I'm derailed now. Jeff Wilson. All right, Bob, here we go. Oh, Knox and Higbee. I think we had this exact question for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think we went Higbee universally. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Bob?
We did.
Yeah, you hate Dawson Knox. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
JP.
I don't hate Dawson Knox.
Well, the H word is strong. I apologize.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Look, Dawson, it's not you. It's me. Okay? Like, it's just...
No, it's him. It's not. It's definitely him, not me.
It's something I'm working through personally. I apologize.
Right. Exactly.
All right, JP, full PPR, Dylan or Patterson. This is a nice one. This is kind of a brain tickler for me. Gladys?
I'm going to go Dylan, higher ceiling. Maybe. No, that would be Patterson, higher ceiling. Dylan, a safer floor. So I'm going Dylan.
Bob?
Maybe the Saints' run defense isn't as dominant, but Cordell Patterson was impressive last week,
Mhm.
He was.
and I think I'm gonna roll with Pat. I think CPAT's the real deal. So I'm
I
in.
did too.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
He's-
and like, go ahead, Gladys.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all. Not
I
at
hear
all.
you. Yeah, I'm with you. Damn, I hate to fade Dylan just in case, but I think Patterson's a smarter move in full PPR as well. If this was half or non, it's Dylan easy for me. Okay, James Gannon, what up? Need one flex spot. Half PPR, Curtis Samuel, Hunter Renfrow, DJ Chark. DJ Chark coming out of the woods last week for the Lions, back off of basically a 2-year injury. So it's good to see him getting work. Curtis Samuel, very impressive as well. And, I think Hunter Renfrow is still on the Raiders. But, 17 targets for my boy Devontae, who's not going to be productive with Aaron Rodgers. But, it's easy to go from one Hall of Famer to the other. So I'm not surprised. Curtis Samuel, Hunter Renfrow, DJ Chark, half PPR, Bob.
First of all, shout out to James Gannon, my boy from college. Love you.
What up, James?
Okay, I understand Curtis Samuel went bananas last week, but I don't know. I'm just gonna hope that I'm not 100% sold yet that he's gonna be that every week. So I'm gonna actually go Hunter Renfrow in a high score game against the Arizona Cardinals.
Gladys?
Half PPR. I like Curtis Samuel. I think he's going to be that every week, and that game is Curtis Samuel.
Something's bothering me about nobody liking the offense with Detroit, except for Hawkinson and Swift, of course.
Right.
But then you look at the game last week, you're like, wow, Philly's up 20. Man, saw that coming. And then you flip the channel and you come back, you're like, wait a minute, 35-31? What the hell happened?
Amon Ra.
The Lions are going to score points, and DJ Chark is like a sneak attacker, but maybe I need one more week to prove that. I hate to fade Renfrow. Big fan. I love my Clemson wide receivers, but I'm going to go Curtis Samuel here as well. I just hope I'm, not too excited off of 1 week. Official Savage. Appreciate it. Of course, we've reported this already because, again, we're a handful of minutes behind, but appreciate you having our back on this one. Per Rappaport, throwing out the street cred there. Thank you. Dion 47. Drake London, Elijah Moore, half PPR in my flex. Gladys?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Drake London or Elijah Moore, half PPR in my flex. I think Jalen Ramsey's all over Drake London this week, so I'm going Elijah Moore.
Bob?
I'm actually going to go Drake London. I don't think Ramsey's going to shadow him. That's just my opinion. I think they're going to put up points. The Rams are going to be angry. They got smoked, and I think that Drake London's just going to get
shit.
You get garbage time points. I heard in fantasy,
They
so I'm
count.
all about it. Worst case
They
scenario,
absolutely count.
let's do it. I'm going Drake London.
They absolutely count. Yeah. Look, I'll tell you this right now. I like Drake London a lot. A lot of us loved him coming in, but he is a rookie on, I love my boy Marcus too, but a not great offense. If Drake London somehow roasts or gets the best of Ramsey in this game, that's all I'm saying. But
Ramsey's
for now, in Flacco we trust. Let's go with Elijah Moore. All right. Gigantor, love it. Bench one. Oh, nice. The old reversal. Love that. Bench one, PPR. Evans, Julio is out.
So there you go.
Unfortunately, we can scratch him. Evans, Cooper, Elijah Moore, thanks. Bench one in PPR. Gladys. Or maybe this question was answered already with Julio being out.
Julio's out. If I had to go with the other two, I would go Evans because, Lattimore.
Bob?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go Moore. It's just bench one. Oh, bench one. Oh, yeah. Bench Julio. You're fine.
Right. So we were just saying, like, if this was before we had dropped the out for sure, Julio, of course, is the easy one. But if you had to go with somebody else, Bob, out of Evans, Cooper, and Moore, who would you bench if you had to drop a different one?
Probably Cooper.
I think I'm gonna go Cooper as well. Nick, y'all are crushing it. Full PPR. Penny, Lockett, Wilson. Gladys?
Jeff Wilson.
Bob?
I hate. First of all, Nick's a Razzball guy, so he gets it. What's going on, man?
What up, Nick?
I honestly, I hate. I just feel the Jeff Wilson
I know it's getting
disappointment.
strong.
I feel it now. I'm starting to feel like because every
getting
answer,
strong.
I'm like the Shanahan running back. Bad weather game. Gonna probably lean on the run game. Let's do Jeff Wilson. And then it's not. He's gonna get like 6 carries, and I'm literally just gonna throw myself out my window. But this is my point. I gotta go. I'm gonna go Jeff Wilson because he has a good matchup and he should be the lead back. And I'm excited to be wrong about that.
You know what they say, folks? Trust the process. Elijah Mitchell was on his way to dominating the Bears, blew his knee out, game over. The running back for the 49ers is going to get work and should be dominant if healthy. We cannot predict injuries, although with the 49ers, we almost can. I'm going to stick with my boy Jeff Wilson as well. Peter, full PPR, Komet, Tunyon. Gladys?
Tunyon. Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust his rookies. He can't continuously throw to his running backs, although I hope he does. Tunyon is back from injury. Tunyon.
Bob?
You know you want to do it, Bob.
I do want to do it.
He wants to go Komet, though, because he's starting Fields. So that's his brain right now.
Yeah, it's also I don't know. I'm gonna go commit. I'm not ready to trust Tunyon yet. He was a part-time player last week, still coming off the knee injury, so I'm gonna go commit.
A PTP. Part-time.
I got you.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Sorry, it's not March. My bad. Shouts out to my boy Dickie V, by the way, in a big-time battle right now, and he's crushing it. So big up Dickie V. Komet for me. Clap Nuts is back. Need a flex. Michael Carter, DK, Robbie Anderson, Lazard, DK again, Amari Cooper, full PPR. Clap Nuts. I'm this is fully judging, and I super duper don't want to be disrespectful. You might just need a nap. You might need a nap here. DK in here twice, right?
Right.
And I think that's Kurt Cobain, if my math is correct there. So, just make sure you hydrate on this Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. Get your vitamins in. Let's pick a flex here. Full PPR, Carter, double DK, Anderson, Amari Cooper, Bob. Look, 2 DKs would be pretty sick.
It would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% ready to start Lazard just yet. So he would have been my pick if I felt confident in his ankle. Give me Robbie Anderson. Let's do it.
Robbie Anderson, love it. We may or may not have a guest feature here in just a second. So let's see if that comes through. Gladys?
I don't know. Robbie Anderson was on the field for 100% of the snaps.
Yeah, insane. Doesn't
Insane. It was ridiculous. And what, McCaffrey 80? I'm going to go Lazard. Full PPR. The same logic I use for Tunyon, I'm going to use for Lazard, which would cancel one of them out. So I'm going to cancel out Tunyon now and put in Lazard. I'm going Lazard.
Yeah, and not necessarily. I mean, like we've seen many Packers go off.
Right.
No, I think if Rodgers can do it properly and the Packers bounce back against the Bears and blah, 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 I think they're going to crush. So I'm not worried about that. All right, Sam, and we can start crushing out the rest of these couple questions here to catch up a little bit. Sam 1, good morning. First time we're hearing from you. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Good morning, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, Deontay Johnson need to sit 1 full PPR. So let's take 1 out of here. Evans, Thomas, Deontay. I think this is a universal here, but Gladys will go with you.
Evans.
Bob?
Against Watermeyer. No call.
I'm like the most anti Deontay Johnson person.
1-0 Mitch Trubisky, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I am not in on Deontay at all. I know the Marshawn Lattimore bum wheel, but no Julio, no Godwin. I think Evans just finds the end zone somehow, and I'm going to go Evans and MT, so I'll sit Deontay.
Why do you get me thinking on this shit, dude? I'm like totally committed, and then you say something, and I'm like, oh, let me just like spend 20 minutes in my rankings. No, we're trusting the gut here. I'm going to go. I'm gonna sit Deontay Johnson too with Bob here, and I think I'm gonna take a different approach. I love me some 1-0 Mitch Trubisky, but the Patriots are the Patriots. They play solid, sound defense anyway. It feels like Bill Belichick could absolutely destroy Mitch Trubisky. He's not a rookie, but we know that he can hone in on somebody and just dominate him. So I think this is a bunch of Najee Harris, assuming he stays healthy. Low-scoring game. And I agree with Bob. I mean, it might be 3 for 26, but I think Mike Evans scores, and Deontay's going to need a lot of volume there. Official Savage letting us know Julio is out as well. Thank you again for that. David Steele, PPR, pick 2. Kirk, Lazard, Debo, and Mooney. Nice roster here. Gladys, pick 2.
Debo and Lazard.
Babo?
I love Lazard so much too. This is like a pain in my ass. Like I don't.
He's your wide receiver, Jeff Wilson.
I know. No. Jeff.
Not
No,
quite.
leave Jeff out.
No. I'm saying we've chosen Jeff Wilson 39 times this morning, and now it's getting a little abrasive.
I think this is a Debo game this week. I think he's going to get that slop. He's going to love every second of it, and I'm in on Debo 100%. This is a bad idea, but I actually am going to go Lazard here as well.
Lazard and Mooney for me as well. All right, Granville, Houston, Boyd, Dobbs, Doolin, Austin Doolin.
Yes, baby.
My man. I didn't even know anybody knew who he was. That's great. Or any of the Texans running backs today in the I love this question so much. Any of the Texans running backs in the flex position. Half PPR is a deep league, so we're looking at guys like, your boy, the ghost of Tyler Boyd. Bob's got to have a little tingle in his heartstrings there. Romeo Dobbs or Austin Doolin. Deep dart throw here, half PPR. Gladys will go with you.
Hey, is T. Higgins for sure in?
Yeah.
He's in.
Then Boyd's out for me. I'm actually going to go Doolin. He had a 12.2% target share last week. He was on 34% snaps. I'm going Doolin. Deep league, half PPR. Do it.
No. The Jacksonville weather situation, I'm probably not going to go after a dart throw like Doolin. But yeah, I actually am going to go with Texans RBs, half PPR. Give me Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, the appropriate professional advice would be Rex Burkhead, but I just want to throw it on the screen. Oh, hold on, Gladys. Hold on. Give me a second. I want to throw it on the screen here that I'm definitely down for some Austin Doolin. You had mentioned how successful he was last week. And as the wide receiver 4, he was getting that work, and he had 6 targets. Now he's the wide receiver 2 behind Paris Campbell, so I think he gets some work. Let's bring the boss man in here. Good morning, DT. What's happening,
guys?
What's happening?
Little technical difficulties over here. Sunday mornings, gotta love them.
You're good. Good morning, folks. DT is in the building. We got a quadfecta here. One time, another reminder here as everyone catches their bearings before we continue on. What's up, guys? Good luck today. Michael Jordan, appreciate you jumping in here. Make sure to subscribe right here to the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel and also the podcast as well. All of us are on podcasts consistently throughout the week, throughout the season. All of us have been doing lots of summer work. We're all writing articles on Razzball.com as well. We all have official rankings up. You can find all of our information on Razzball.com and, of course, all of our episodes and the podcast as well. So make sure to subscribe right here and the podcast. You can also leave a rate and review and drop a comment down here as well. Let's kick it up here, DT. We'll have you kick up this one here. Chris and Don want to know here, one running back, half PPR, Jeff Wilson, ETN, Patterson, Penny, or Zeke. DT, give us one here. One running back, half PPR.
I'm still on ETN. I'm still on ETN. I was watching a little bit earlier while I was setting all of my lineups and working on my rankings and doing everything that you do on a Sunday morning. And you made a good point there, Sky. I talked about this on the pod earlier this week, but ETN was 2 plays away from having a huge game. Definitely think James Robinson is going to be a little bit of a headache for us ETN owners, but I'm not giving up on ETN yet. So I'm going to start him over. Wilson would be my second choice.
Gladys?
I'm going to go Patterson and a half PPR. Patterson.
Pablo?
Patterson.
ETN as well. I apologize, Chris and Don. We are 50-50 ETN and Patterson. Best of luck. Itty bitty South City 650 back in the place. Thank you so much. You had a lot of questions last week as well. So thank you for tuning back with us right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube channel. All right. Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, Darrell Henderson, Khalil Herbert, DK, Renfro, Kirk, Moore, DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Taysom Hill, 12-team PPR. We need 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and a flex. Start of Mike Williams as the other wide receiver. Well done. Thank you for not giving up on my man, Mike Williams. All right, we're basically setting a lineup here. Everybody take 1 second to get your head around it. Bob, we'll start with you on this one. Again, we're looking for, in a full PPR, 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and a flex.
Okay. Wow. I'm going to go. Well, Barkley and Henderson are definitely in for me. Man, this Jacksonville situation's got me on tilt because I love Christian Kirk this week. I think I'm just going to stay with Kirk as my wide receiver. I'm going to go. This is going to be stupid, but whatever. DK, Kirk, Henderson, and Barkley.
All right. Let's see. DT, still have the love for DK?
I do. Do we know which more that is?
That's
Elijah.
a great question. With the
Elijah,
names
right?
around him, I'm assuming it's Elijah Moore too.
Yeah. If it was DJ, I think DJ is the wide receiver start.
Oh, right.
But I think you're right. I think it is Elijah, just the way that they're ordered. So Saquon's the obvious start here, right? Henderson,
Running back 1 last week. Love it.
Henderson and Najee is a tough decision just because of all the uncertainty with Najee. I think I lean Henderson as well with you, Bobby, and then I'll go DK at wide receiver, and then I guess I'll flex back into Najee. It's so hard to bench him, even though I'm very scared to start him.
Gladys?
I'm going to go Barkley and Henderson, running backs. PPR, I'm going Kirk for my wide receiver, and I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones, 92.
Nice.
Ran 92% routes last week. Yeah, 83% on snap counts. I think, that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to go Najee, Barkley, Henderson, and I want to go DK also, but weather's got me a little spooked, so I'm going to go Elijah Moore. All right, JT, Saquon. All right, we're setting lineups here. All right, so look below here, 14-team PPR. We need 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, and a flex. JT and Saquon are automatic, so we're going Dylan, Henderson, Herbert, St. Brown, Renfro, Devontae Smith, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Romeo Dubs, and Taysom Hill. I love how Taysom Hill is just like not part of the sentence. It's just like Taysom Hill. So PPR need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. The 2 running backs are Saquon and JT.
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to correct me if anybody wants to. We need a flex and 2 wide receivers with the rest of them. Gladys, we'll start with you.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown for sure. I'm still sticking with Donovan Peoples-Jones as another wide receiver because I want to put Dylan in the flex. So JT, Saquon, running backs, Monte Ron, DPJ, wide receivers, and Dylan flex.
DT?
So we got the running backs. Dylan, I will flex. You know what? I'll flex Henderson over Dylan actually in full PPR, and then Amon-Ra and Renfro for the 2 wide receiver slots.
Bob?
I agree with the man that pays my bills.
I agree with the man that agrees with the man that pays our bills. Yeah. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go JT, Saquon, Henderson. Love me some AJ Dillon, of course, but I'm going to go Henderson there as well. And then, I know, Bob, right?
I could just pop over and then.
I know. I think it's funny.
I feel like I'm the neighbor from Tim the Toolman, Taylor's neighbor.
Wilson, baby. Yeah.
Like giving a nice sound advice with just showing my eyes.
I love it. All right. Meko J, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. 37. As my wide receiver 2, do I do CeeDee Lamb, Bateman, Devonta Smith? As my wide receiver 1 is Justin Jefferson. So you're in great shape with Jefferson, clearly. Wide receiver 2 here, Lamb, Bateman, Devonta Smith. DT?
I guess I'll go with Lamb. Bateman would be my second choice, but it's just so hard to bench a guy like Lamb, even though it's not ideal.
Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to go CD still.
Gladys?
Bateman.
Yeah.
CD's trash.
I'm actually gonna go with Bateman as well here. All right, Calvo back. Jamal Williams, Isaiah McKenzie, deep PPR dart throw here, Bob.
Well, this is tough because what if? I guess I'll go Isaiah McKenzie.
Either way, okay, Gladys.
PPR Isaiah McKenzie. Jamal Williams, you're counting on being in the game not to get a touchdown. Like he's going to only come in the game after Swift gets him to the 5-yard line. Isaiah.
DT?
I'll go. It's a coin flip, really, but I'll go with Williams. It sounds like Swift is probably going to be somewhat limited, and they've got some offensive line injuries too. So I think that we might see a lot more Jamal Williams than normal this week, and Swift might be relegated to kind of passing work to protect them a little bit.
I like it, DT. I'm actually going to go with you as well. And also, there's the other factor here of as far as I know, Gabe Davis isn't ruled out yet, unless anybody has an update on that. But Gabe Davis still being questionable. He could play Monday if he plays. I know Isaiah scored last week in a track meet, but like Isaiah McKenzie, you're banking on a touchdown. And Jamal Williams at least is going to get other carries and can catch the ball in the backfield. So I just think he's a more viable option. Obviously, you're in a deep second flex situation here. So you're looking for touchdowns anyway, and I just think that Jamal Williams has a better opportunity to find that.
What is Gabe Williams? What is Gabe Davis' injury? What's Gabe Davis's injury?
Ankle.
Okay.
Which is strange because I don't remember him getting hurt. I think it was like a late practice thing or something. It popped up. It popped up like Friday, if I remember correctly. So it might have been a practice tweak. So I don't think it's even that serious, but he's technically questionable, and we're not going to know because it's Monday night.
Yeah.
So it just is these things that hang over us. All right, Peter wants to know full PPR. OJ 2 touchdown. Howard Conklin, Granson, Johnson. Man, look at this, Bob. We got to go with you here. We got to go with the deep streaming tight end question here. OJ Howard, Conklin, Granson, or Johnson, and that's Jawan Johnson, I would imagine.
To start my mornings, there's 2 things. I need a cup of coffee and a deep streaming tight end question, and now I am ready to go. One of my favorite players this week as a deep streamer is Tyler Conklin for the Jets. And listen, Granson would have been nice too. I think the injuries to the Colts receiving core, he actually did see 6 targets last week. But I'm going to go Conklin in this one.
DT?
Yeah, I'll go with Conklin too. I don't envy you though.
Yeah, I mean, this is I'm just going to guess this is probably like a has George Kittle situation, right? And now you're just scrambling. So it happens. That's what you do with tight ends, kind of part of the game, unfortunately. Gladys?
I'm actually going to go with Juwan Johnson.
Love it.
Man,
this is tough.
5 tons.
Yeah, this is tough. I'm between Conklin and Johnson too. I just think, the Vikings offense is just so awesome right now. I think I'm going to go Conklin also. If Justin Jefferson gets somewhat slowed down and Thielen just can't keep up necessarily, it might be Conklin there. I love OJ Howard, but let's not chase touchdowns. He finally did what all of us have wanted him to do for 5 years last week, but let's not chase that necessarily. So I'm going to go with Conklin as well. Jamal Williams, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram now the starter for the Saints. DT?
This is a tough one. We don't know the format here. I'm not sure that it really matters, to be honest. I'll go Ingram just for the touches. The volume seems pretty safe there with Kamara out.
Gladys?
Mark Ingram.
Bob?
Yeah, give me those touches, Mark Ingram.
Quadfecta Ingram as well. OJ Howe. Oh, we just had that, Peter. Thank you. Alex, Zeke, Rashad Penny, Michael Carter, Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, pick 2 running backs. Folks, quick reminder. Look at this. Look at this, Alex. Look at this, Alex. Great job. Good catch, my man. Full PPR. Please, everybody, polite reminder to please add in your league settings. It helps us tremendously, especially when we're talking tons of running backs. So, full PPR here. Zeke, Penny, Carter, Drake, Edmonds. Gladys, pick 2.
Full PPR. I'm going to go Edmonds, and I want to believe in Zeke. I want to believe that Zeke is going to get lots of touches because they got nothing else. So I'm going to go Zeke and Edmonds.
Bob?
Yeah, I think I will go with I think Zeke is fine, I guess. Honestly, I'm looking through my matchup things, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'll go Zeke and Carter.
DT?
Yeah, so I'm with them on Zeke. I think Zeke is the one that, I mean, I'm not excited to start him, but I think you do start him over these guys. And then really for me, it was a coin flip between Penny and Edmonds. I'll give the slight edge to Edmonds, but I mean, this could go anyway. I have no problem with Carter either, to be honest.
You mean the Jets starting running back, Michael Carter? I'm going to go Carter and Edmonds here, actually. I want Zeke too, but again, like some of these other players we've been mentioning this morning, I want Zeke to go off on my bench and be like, oh, he can overcome all this stuff. He's still Zeke. Week 1 was a bad week, whatever, and then like play him next week. But I don't see it yet. Yep, okay. Pick 2. So Elijah Mitchell is out. Unfortunately, Jared, Elijah Mitchell will be out for, I think it's about 6 weeks right now. He's on the IR, so you can unfortunately drop him to your IR spot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you don't have an IR spot, honestly, I would just drop him if you don't have IR. If you do, clearly, I would just flop him down there and let him rest on your roster for the next 6 weeks, I believe. Otherwise, let's pick 2 in a full PPR here. Darnell Mooney, Dameon Pierce, Cam Akers, Cole Kmet, Jahan Dotson, Khalil Herbert. This is an interesting batch. DT, we'll start with you on this one.
Pierce and Mooney for me.
Ooh, nice and quick like that. Gladys?
Pierce and Dotson.
Bobo?
Pierce and Mooney.
DT, can I trust Khalil Herbert? He's going to be the starter eventually, but not yet. Okay, gotcha. Last week was just so horrible with the Niners. Like, we didn't really get a gauge, but Khalil Herbert in limited work just looks better than David Montgomery right now.
Yeah, I mean, the game script, Rodgers just owns the Bears. He's going to bounce back. Like, it would be so stunning to me if this game was like actually a game. I hope it is as a Bears fan, but you know that goes. So I think it's going to be a blowout and really bad game script for Khalil Herbert.
Okay. Love me some Jahan Dotson. Kid's awesome. And I think they got 3 Bears on here. Mooney, Kmet, and Herbert. I'm going to go Pierce and Jahan Dotson as well. I think Pierce gets a little more work in week 1. We got same question. Yes. Yep. Thanks, Jarrett. Matt Moore. No problem there. Thanks so much.
What was Elijah Moore? Not Elijah Mitchell. That's what he's saying.
Oh, Elijah Moore. Okay. Well, let's just go back to it for 1 second here. Let's do this kind of all over quickly. Pick 2. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you so much. No worries. Elijah Moore, Mooney, Pierce, Akers, Kmet, Dotson, Herbert, round the horn very quickly. Anything changes, DT?
I'm going to stay with Pierce over Elijah Moore. That's probably going to be an unpopular choice, I'm guessing.
full PPR too. Gladys?
I'm sticking Pierce, Dotson.
Okay, Bob?
I'll go Moore and Mooney.
I'm going to go Moore and Dodson here in a full PPR. Love me some Pierce. I think he'll come around eventually, but so far it's Rex right now in Houston. All right, Fav Rocks, Jeff Wilson, Miles Sanders in the flex. Gladys?
Jeff Wilson.
Bob?
Miles Sanders.
DT?
Sanders. And, I think it's really close if we're talking like a standard league, and then in any sort of PPR, it's pretty easily Sanders for me.
Okay, I'm going to go with Wilson here. Josh Peterson, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, PPR. Bob?
Mike Evans.
DT?
I'll go Deontay.
Gladys?
Deontay.
Mike Evans. Itty bitty South City 650. I just like saying it. I'm going to say it every single time.
It is.
Thank you guys so much. Rocking with Gladys and DPJ predictions. Look at this. You do your research. You get the shout outs. Well done. Happy Sunday and go Niners. Itty bitty, you're climbing the charts. Already. I wish you extra luck. I'm sprinkling extra
Me too.
luck on your team. Well done. All right, Peter, back. Love you guys. Thanks so much for the deep tight end question. We got it all for you, Peter. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week here. 14 teams short bench. I hear you. Those rosters can get pretty crazy. So thanks so much again for tuning in with us. All right, Crown Trend. First time in. Thank you so much for joining with us. Please help. Full PPR, Drake London, Penny, or Paris Campbell, Bob?
Drake London.
Gladys?
I don't like London's matchup. I don't like the defense. I'm going to go Paris Campbell because of the
DT?
injuries.
DT?
Penny. I'm going to go for the touches here.
Oh, man.
You have to break the tie.
Well, yeah, one
That's
vote
how
each.
you know you got a good question.
One vote each here. I usually don't do this in this particular group of players. I'm going to go with Paris Campbell. He should be the de facto number one in Indy. I know Bob's worried about the rain. I might be too, but he's the number one. He's healthy as of today. So let's ride it while we can. I'm actually going to go with Paris Campbell. All right, with poor weather in Seattle and San Francisco game, who y'all pick? Penny or Wilson? We've had a lot of this one here. Gladys, we'll go with you.
Wilson.
Wilson. Cool. DT?
Wilson.
If
Bob.
Wilson gets 15 carries for 45 yards, I'm done. I'm out. I am out. I can't. It's going to be Jeff Wilson, but man, oh man, I'm already waiting. I already know it's happening. I might as well just go on every gambling app, bet the unders on Jeff Wilson because it's happening. So at this point.
I love it. All right, I'm going to go Jeff Wilson. Gladys, before you go, quick question. Score prediction, Steelers, Patriots.
17-10 Steelers.
Love it. Mac Jones beat up. Best of
Yeah.
luck to your Steelers. Thanks
you.
for rocking with us, girl. You crushed it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks,
All right.
Gladys.
Cheers. All right, y'all. Let's crush out the rest of these here. Ben. Hey, guys. Oh, hold on. No better time for a computer update than mid-show. Thanks. Hey, guys. Need a little bit of help here. Half PPR. Pick 2. Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Jarvis Landry, Curtis Samuel. Lots of Landry and Samuel this morning. DT, will kick it off with you.
I'm going to go with Moore and Mooney on this one.
Let's see.
Bob, I'll give you a
And
second here. I'm going to go with Moore and Mooney. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Bears get smashed, but Mooney's going to have, Brandon Marshall type targets here the rest of the season. So, man, though, Samuel and Landry are fun. I'm actually going to fade that, actually. I'm going to go with Landry and Samuel. I think they're safer this week.
I'm just doing a quick. I just wanted to pop over because last year Justin Fields had a really good second game versus the Packers. Mooney
Should have won that game.
I mean, he didn't really do much. He did have one game of 45 yards and a touchdown, which is great. I guess maybe he wasn't as good as I thought he was in the second game. All right, I'm gonna actually go Landry and Elijah Moore.
Got it. All right, Joe. Full PPR, Sutton, Robbie Anderson. DT?
Oh,
Sutton here for me.
Sutton.
Trifecta, Sutton as well. David Steele. With poor weather in San Francisco, Penny Wilson. Sorry, we just did that one. Thank you so much. And folks, I know there's some duplicate questions. Not a problem. And I'm sorry that I read some of these twice because I'm going through the order here. We will get to all questions, I promise. We just fall a few minutes behind explaining all these things. So adding it a second time, not to be rude, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to answer it quicker. Bob, if they would like to jump the line, though, and they got to get that question in and they have to set a roster before they go about their Sunday morning, is there a way that they can maybe get in a little bit quicker?
No, unfortunately, you guys are stuck. You're going to have to wait in line. No, just kidding. But no, so we basically want to make sure everyone knows that we do have a way that you can skip the line. You can actually donate to the show. There's a QR code at the top of your screen. You click on that. You submit it to PayPal. You just submit your question there. Donate $1, whatever. But we're also excited to announce that we are partnering with Good Sports. So if you become a partner with us, you guys donate to the show, not only do you skip the line and get your questions answered right away, we know everyone's in a rush, but of course we'll get to your questions when we can, but we also donate 10% of any money we make to Good Sports, the youth charity organization that actually helps provide kids with equipment to play sports in underprivileged communities. So not only do you get your question answered, but goes, some of it goes to a good cause. So really would appreciate any donations. Plus, it helps us out. And once we get monetized, this process is going to be super easy because you can use the super chat function right on YouTube. But until then, feel free to jump on PayPal for now, or just tune into the show and watch our questions, and we'll get to yours when we can.
Speaking of questions, Garrett Woodworth wants to know, T. Higgins, healthy and playing off the concussion protocol. Jalen Waddle, able to take any 3-yard slant to the hitty. And Christian Kirk. Full PPR, Bob?
God, I wanted to be Kirk, but at the same time, I'm going to take T. Higgins because Dallas is just out wide, not really that great at defending people. He'll play a lot against Anthony Brown. I think he's going to beat up on him. So I'm going to go T. Higgins.
Waddle for me here.
Love my boy T. Higgy. I got to go Higgins. Got to go Higgins here. Drew D, AJ Brown, Antonio Gibson, or DeAndre Swift. A 4-man league. Yo, y'all playing with fire. A 4-man league. These rosters have got to be awesome. So basically, picking one of these guys here. DeAndre Swift is playing, but I think DT mentioned earlier, a little bit limited. Antonio Gibson, everyone faded him all summer, came out of the gates hot, and AJ Brown's going to have a massive season in Philly. DT?
I think if this is full PPR, I'll go AJ Brown. Half PPR standard, I'll go with Antonio Gibson.
Bob?
I will go with the same exact answer. Good job.
AJ Brown, either way. Jacob, Brady or Wentz? Bob?
I actually had the same exact issue. I faded Brady 100%. I'm out on him this week, so I'm going to go Wentz here.
TT?
Brady here for me.
Oh. Traditionally, the Saints have done well against them. You know what? I know I could get burned playing with fire here, but I'm going to ride the Wentz train again another week. Not only did he crush at QB3, but he just straight up looked really good. And this offense, I think, is compatible with what he's doing. Mike Jordan back. Need one beverage to make playing against Josh Allen less painful. Pick one. Crown Royal, Johnny Walker Red, Jack Daniels, Jameson, or just slam a few Red Bulls. DT, it's closer to noon on your side. What are you feeling?
Oh man, I used to like the Johnny Walker Black. Not so much a fan of the red, so I would go with the Jameson. Yeah.
Okay. Bob?
I think screw it. Just slam some shots of tequila. Why not? You know what I mean?
You're going rogue.
If we're gonna be going about just the Josh Allen guilt, just slug those tequila shots. You'll be ready to rock.
Well, assuming you don't have tequila on your roster, Bob, clearly like it's not an option in the bench here.
Well, first of all, you can go on waivers, claim a tequila, and you're good to go. But I'm a Jack Daniels guy myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bob. I'm actually I haven't had any liquor in 15 something years, but back in my heyday, I also used to enjoy a whiskey. So I'm gonna go with Jack Daniels here as well. Best of luck. And your Josh Allen guilt. I love that. Albert O, Dawson Knox, full PPR. DT?
Yes, coin flip. Alberto.
Yeah, I'm going to be in solidarity with Bob here and fade Dawson Knox for no particular reason. All right, Jonathan, what do I do with Tom Brady? We just kind of talked about this, but Bob, can you walk us through it one more time?
Well, first off, he's missing his left tackle. He's going to be down Chris Godwin and Julio Jones today. He's playing against a Saints team that he hasn't been really – I think this might be a good time just to look at the stat lines because he does have like these weird – so last year he faced them in the regular season. He went 2-14-0, and then he went 3-75-4 against New Orleans. So I get it. It's a little bit up and down. But missing the offensive line injuries on top of the wide receiver injuries, I'm not starting him. I actually sat him in all my leagues that I have him. I have Tom Brady and Trey Lance, and those are the two guys I'm probably fading the most this week in all my leagues. So I would sit him. I'm not dropping Brady, but I think if you can get a Derek Carr in a shallow league, if you can get, maybe even like I know this is going to sound nuts, but Marcus Mariota because of his rushing ability in a game where they're probably going to trail against the Rams. I'm just not excited about Brady this week.
Anything to add, DT?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brady is. I think he is droppable in certain shallow leagues where everybody's only like 10-team league. Everybody's got one quarterback, and you've got a better option. I've got no problem putting that roster spot to use elsewhere, but generally agree with what Bobby said.
All right, let's move on here to a couple more. A-Rob or Lazard for Christian, DT?
Well, so Lazard is confirmed playing. I'll go with him.
Allen Robinson is going to be this Sunday's Mike Williams. Big bounce back game.
Breaking news, folks. No, he's not. Lazard.
It sounds
Anthony.
What kind of siren was that? That was a terrible
I don't-
siren.
Bro,
What kind of siren does this?
It's still like an hour before breakfast over here. Let me know.
That's true. All right.
Anthony, start 2, half PPR. Bateman, Mike Williams, Drake London, or Dortch. Nice. First Dortch call. I know Bob threw him out earlier.
Dortch.
Bob, we'll go with you. Pick 2 here, half PPR.
I like me some Dortch, but I'm not going to probably start him over these guys per se. Let's see. I think, like I said, I'm going to be all in on A-Rob this week, so I'm in on him. It comes down to Bateman and London. Give me Drake London.
DT?
I'm going to go with Bateman and A-Rob.
Bateman and Dortch.
Love it. Dortch.
Bob mentioned it last week. All right. And Bob and I have a science experiment we're monitoring. Can you explain, Bob, in 15 seconds, the Raiders outside versus slot?
Yeah, 91% of their fantasy points allowed to wide receivers came from the slot last week. Dortch is the slot guy coming off a 7-reception game, which is why Dortch should be in this conversation, and he is someone that I would play in deeper leagues.
Yeah, Nate Hobbs just totally dominated Mike Williams, so definitely concerned about Hollywood this week.
Totally agree. And like just process of elimination. I know Dortch is the new name, and we're all like, who the hell is that? Look, dude, again, you watch this kid play last week. He was pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. So I'm actually going to go rogue here. I'm a big-time A-Rob guy from Jacksonville days. He's just hurt my feelings too much. Love Drake London, but I don't like the matchup, so I'm actually going to go Dortch and Bateman.
And no Rondale Moore and Andy Isabella. So he's just going to be on the field 100%.
Anthony also wants to know, in another league, full PPR, Logan Thomas, Alberto. I think we've had this question like 5 times from multiple people, so seems to be a popular streaming option here. Logan Thomas, Alberto, DT?
I'll go Alberto again.
Bob?
Same. Alberto.
I'm outvoted here, but I'm going to go Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is great when he's on the field. Julio is out. Baller Brook, Julio is out. Please make sure to accommodate that on your roster. Otherwise, though, let's pick one here, Chark or Cooper. Bob?
Jesus. I'm going to go Cooper.
DT?
I'll go Cooper as well. I mean, this is one of those ones where it's like, I got to go look at my rankings and see what I was thinking when I ranked them, which kind of gives you like a peek behind the scenes of people go to like Fantasy Pros and look at like the expert rankings. And I think if you ask 95% of the people putting rankings on there, they probably have to go consult it too. Something like this.
There's a million names. Yeah, it's very hard. And
you ask me an hour later, I might switch.
And so many people are so close.
I was looking at the expert rankings and I compared it to mine because I'm trying to do both right now. And like, I'm like 15 spots higher on a guy that I have ranked like 85th. And I'm like, I don't even care at this point. Like, I don't care if he's 85th or 100. Are you kidding me? It's like, and the best part too is if you get that wrong, you get dinged hard. So you have to like move that guy to 100 because you don't want to get dinged for it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Yeah, I'm like Dortch is my like wide receiver 62, and I'm feeling like really good about it. You know? So,
yeah.
That's funny. I'm gonna go Cooper 2 only because of work, but DJ Chark played well last week in his Detroit debut. All right, man. Well, hi bros. PPR flex, Hunt, Bateman, Henderson, Allen Robinson, DT.
Tough one. These flex ones are always tough. I think Hunt is pretty much a must start in full PPR. And I'll go with Henderson for the other one, but I mean, you could probably convince me anyway on this.
Bob,
give me Henderson's workhorse role. I'm gonna ride that puppy. Let's do it.
I'm gonna go. I love me some Hunt as well, but Bob's right until Cam Akers shows it. I'm gonna go Henderson also. My last question, boys. I got to get out of here. Full PPR, pick 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson.
Amon-Ra and DJ Moore for me.
Yeah, those two. And that last one, I didn't realize they only wanted one. So yeah, it was Kareem Hunt was my one on that last one over Henderson. I'm outnumbered.
Okay, and you're going. Sorry, Amon-Ra and
DJ Moore, same as Bobby.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the Patriots will be able to slow them down. I'm also going to go Amon-Ra and DJ Moore. Bob, pick it up for me right here at A. This will be the last question. Everybody, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for tuning in with us one more time, and we will catch you next week. Best of luck in week 2.
Bye, Sky Galasco. Kenyon Drake or Kareem Hunt, full PPR. DT, what do you got?
Hunt again.
I think Hunt, this one is pretty easy for me too. I like Kareem Hunt as well. Let's jump down. Who? I don't even know what that means. With Javonte as the RB1, should I start Breece Hall, Melvin Gordon, or Damian Harris? So he's got Javonte on his team. Are you willing to start Melvin Gordon over Damian Harris and Breece Hall?
I think I'm going to go Damian Harris there. Yeah, I don't think I want to start both Melvin and Javonte.
I think I agree. I'm going to go Damian Harris as my RB2 in there as well. Let's jump down to the next one. David Montgomery or Kenyon Drake. I think before we move on, we're almost caught up to our questions. I want to take a second and look at Kenyon Drake's usage last week, because like we got in a lot of Kenyon Drake questions, and like I know he kind of got starters work, but like how good was he like in reality? Do you have any thoughts about Kenyon Drake as a whole? I know before you get into David Montgomery or Kenyon Drake, how do you feel about Drake since Dobbins is out again?
I don't feel great. Yeah, I'm interested to see what did he get? 11 carries for 31 yards and 1 target that he caught. Yeah, I mean, I guess first of all, this question is David Montgomery by a good bit for me. I really don't want anything to do with starting Kenyon Drake. Like in a PPR, I would like to see him get, like 4 or 5, 6 targets, something like that, to feel a little bit better about starting him in PPR.
Yeah, I think we'll see. He ran a 15 routes on versus Andrews 32. So he's not even running 50% of the routes, and 11 carries. He averaged like under 3 yards per carry. We know the injuries up front. Miami Dolphins are like my favorite streamer defense. So I agree. I agree with David Montgomery here. I didn't really know what to think about Drake. I know he's getting started at work, but he just got to the team too. So maybe it's just not flowing yet, but I agree. Let's jump down to Evan _ the Tiger 1524. I love the names that have specific numbers tied to it. Is that like a birthday? I don't know. Leave a comment if you were born in 1924. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, who would you start, Judy or CeeDee Lamb?
Judy here on this one for me. I do have him pretty close, but slight edge to Judy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're at our last question, so I'm actually going to take a sec because I talked a little bit about this earlier about Cooper Rush. Surprisingly good last year in his start for CeeDee Lamb had over 100 yards, Amari Cooper had over 100 yards. So I don't think that's a full fade for me. But at the same time, when you're talking about, Jerry Jeudy's going to be Russell Wilson against Houston, you almost want to just say, all right, I'm going to take the upside of Jeudy. So I will take Jeudy here as well. Football fan 28 for the flex. Start one of these. Michael Pittman, Kamara. Kamara is out today, folks. So is Chris Godwin. So is Pittman. So is Hilliard. So is Gallup. So is Jefferson. So
you got us.
Yeah. All right. So for the flex, start one. Obviously, for the football fan is obviously breaking our cajones. I think at this point we already know.
I'd go with Kamara if I had to start one.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to just for the novelty to say I have Alvin Kamara for the swagger of your league mates, if you could flex one of these guys and show your league you can win even with an injured guy in your flex, I don't mind that, football fan. I totally agree. I want to make sure everyone knows that too before we go. While a couple questions come in, we want to make sure, of course, that everyone knows that we have brand new tools and resources over at Razzball.com. So we're super excited to announce that we've just launched a couple, basically player trends, resources, and tools that you need. One of the first things we did is the player usage data. And obviously my camera loves to go out, and there we go. So new player usage data. So now at Razzball.com, we have things like target shares versus dropbacks, route run for dropbacks, routes run to dropbacks. We have it all now. Player usage data you need. If you go to football.razzball.com, you can check it out. There's a tab called Fantasy Football Data, and you can actually check that out. We also have an adjusted line yards matchup metric. Want to make sure everyone's aware of. If you have questions about your RB2 and you're like, I don't know who to start. If you check out our matchup metric, it's actually offensive line versus defensive line. So you can find out which has the better offensive line matchup. And you might sway you to go with the other guy if you think if you're struggling for that RB2 flex position at running back. And finally, we have defense slot versus wide. You've heard us to me today talk a lot about how many fantasy points a team is allowed to the slot versus out wide, but now we have it on Razzball.com, so you can go check it out too. So if you go check out these charts, if you're interested, say, hey, I have Hunter Renfrow. How good is their opponent against slot in the slot? And then you find out, wow, they allow almost the most points in fantasy to the slot. You might want to start Hunter Renfrow in a PPR format as your wide receiver 3. So great tools and resources you need to help you win your fantasy leagues. We have a couple one. Oh, this is a drop question here.
I was just going to drop, Bobby, where you can find those tools up here on the Razzball site, because we just added them in here, which are right here under fantasy football data up here in the top menu. And you've got your 3 tools here that Bobby has graciously created. They are awesome. And I watched your guys' podcast last week going through those. It was good stuff. Hopefully that you guys can do that again next week and kind of show, now that there will be more trends after 2 weeks, how you're using them and what our viewers can do with them all.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So our Thursday show will be to cover the data and understanding like what is actually happening, what trends are happening. That's going to be our whole Thursday show. Still in the works on the back end, discussing possibly doing a Saturday show where we can talk about the defense slot versus wide and focus more on player trends, the player usage data on Thursday. So we'll see. Hey, we'll see how things go. We'll see if we get more excitement here. But this is just, we wanted to give people the access to this data. So you can, when we're not doing a show, we can only cover so many people in 20 to 30 minutes. So this gives you more of that snapshot. If you're struggling with that, these aren't necessarily things that you will take as outright gospel. It's very good for understanding, all right, what's a tiebreaker? If I don't know who to start in my flex, that's what I really like these tools for, because you're like, okay, I do know that I'm struggling between Alan Lazard and Allen Robinson this week. Okay, this is a good opportunity to say, okay, how are the Falcons? We know the Falcons are a much better matchup, but remember, Chicago played against San Francisco last week in the rain. But my point is, this is a very good tools and resource to help you with those tiebreakers. But also, at some point this year, we're going to have rest of season rankings. We're also going to have, rest of season slot versus wide data, so you can actually make trades. You can acquire people off waivers that might have stronger slot versus wide matchups later in the year. So we're going to have it all for you. Trust me on that. Football fan wanted to talk about how his injuries piled up. This is actually we passed the test, DT. We took the bait. We owned it. We're good to go. He had to drop one of those guys, so that's unfortunate. We feel your pain, man. Injuries do suck in fantasy. Granville, Houston. What's going on, man? I'm starting Brady today. Tua, Watt, Winston, Goff available. Am I crazy? Half-point PPR league. So, DT, are you willing to pick up Tua? I know Tua's your boy. Are you going to start Tua maybe over Tom Brady this week?
No, I think I'm going to go Brady. I'd like to see a little more from Tua before I'm comfortable slotting him in there. I still am very bullish on the season, but show me a little bit more.
Yeah, I got to admit, I sat Brady everywhere. The funny thing about Tom Brady, it's like the stats against the Saints don't make sense. Either he's going to get you nothing, or he'll get you 350 and 4. And I understand the variance, but like if Mike Evans has a hamstring, Julio's out, Godwin's out, Russell Gage is kind of banged up, even Perriman has been banged up. The tight ends haven't proved in anything when Gronk's been out. Leonard Fournette is even dealing with the hamstring. His left tackle is out. I just think sometimes it's just too many red flags. And I know this sounds crazy. I did put Marcus Mariota in one of my leagues because I just like he rushed like crazy. Like he had 60 yards and a touchdown last week on the ground. Give me that baseline. And I know the Rams are going to probably bounce back and probably play well, but I think Mariota is going to get a lot of rushing yards. I know Brady's either going to get 11 points or 30. Give me this. I feel the safer floor for a guy like Mariota in this scenario. Of these 3 guys, I don't think Tua, Winston, or Goff offer you anything with their legs. So I actually am okay with sticking with Brady here. But like I said, I'm fading Lance. I'm fading Brady this week if I can. But obviously, like Derek Carr was a free agent in one of my leagues in a 10-team league. So I picked up Carr. That's obvious. But I think overall, I'm not overly excited for Brady this week. Anyway, Taysom Hill, next one. Movie Fan 101. The Joker face on your avatar is going to haunt my dreams. Thank God it's early enough in the morning that I'll forget by tonight. Taysom Hill or fire me. There's a lot of Taysom Hill hype today. What do you think, DT?
I think you got to go with Freiermuth, unless if you feel really like bad about your matchup. I'm not sure when these guys play. I think their Freiermuth is in the noon games, I believe. But if they're both at 3, I was going to say Bobby, or three for me. It's totally different time zones. Afternoon. If they're both in the afternoon games, then I would consider playing Taysom if you're like really behind, because I do think he's got more upside. There's always a chance that he gets those 2 rushing touchdowns or something, and Kamara's out. But feel a lot better about starting Pat.
So the Saints are at 10, unfortunately, so you can't do that. They're playing the Bucks at 10. So I got to look at. I'm sorry. I don't know, man. I maybe I have this wrong perception about Mitch Trubisky in this offense, but like I just think there's too many mouths to feed right now.
There are,
and it's just like so. Last week, Freiermuth, he had 75 yards. That's pretty good. 9 targets last week. Wow. All right.
I told you that
good.
Steelers offense is not going to be bad, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would probably still go Freiermuth. Listen, Taysom Hill's usage was not great last week. He just had that big touchdown run, which I know is great, but like he's not a he's a kind of the Swiss Army knife. I'll take the safety of Pat Freiermuth in this one. Smoke_E, Darrell Henderson or Bateman at the flex, PPR. What do you got, DT?
Henderson here on this one.
Henderson for me as well. I think Henderson is going to be a monster this week against Atlanta. Zero Destroyer. What's up, guys? What do you think I should start, Brady or Wentz? Which one you got for here, DT?
Still Brady. It's close, though.
Yeah, I think in this one I'm actually going to go Wentz. Something about his play. I mean, I will say that the one thing that stood out against the Lions is that they allowed a lot of fantasy points to Jalen Hurts, but it was all on the ground. They actually were pretty good. They didn't. I mean, the Eagles I think he only had like 200 or so yards and no touchdowns last week. He did it mostly with his legs, Jalen Hurts. So I think Detroit's pass secondary might be better than expected. I can't get over this. Like, so many injuries, so many moving parts for Brady. I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go Tom Brady. Screw it. I think at this point, I want to see Wentz do one more time. He did it against Jacksonville, so I think we should probably give it maybe one more week. I'm okay with Brady in this one. I actually didn't take Wentz over Brady technically, so I will go Tom Brady as well. All right, DT. Any final comments before we close the show? Any start-sit questions? Anything? Any lineup questions for yourself that you kind of been thinking about?
Oh, we got another couple that just popped in here. So,
yeah, Gavin, Gage or Drake London in full PPR. So we got Gage with all the injuries to the Tampa Bay Bucks, or Drake London against those Rams.
I guess Drake London. I'm not excited about either of these guys.
I'm actually going to go London too. I think the Rams come out and play, and I think that Mariota's going to have to throw a little bit to stay competitive, and I think Drake London will be fine. I mean, like I said earlier, Rams don't shadow Ramsey anymore. And Ramsey plays a decent amount in the slot, so I think Drake London will get plenty of opportunities away from Ramsey this week. Darrow Fenton? Okay. Sutton, Jeff Wilson, Jamal Williams, Allen Robinson in the flex. Also has Hall and Akers. Who's your main guy? Pick one.
Sutton, but we don't know the format. Not sure it matters. Maybe if it's standard, I lean to Jamal Williams with Swift being probably limited.
I'm going Cortland Sutton against Houston all day. I think that one's a slam dunk for me. I love Sutton this week. I'm going to try to get as much money on Cortland Sutton. He's in my DFS lineup this week. I'm super excited for Sutton. Ben Burry says half PPR, 2 spots. Flex, Duvernay, Drake, Melvin Gordon, or Darnell Mooney. Two spots, so he needs 2 guys.
I'll go Mooney and Melvin here.
Yeah, I actually agree with this one too. I think Melvin did get the most carries. He has a good matchup against Houston. He did get more carries than Javonte last week. And I think Darnell Mooney, I mean, his numbers weren't great last year against Packers, but I think you're right. I think the Packers are going to come out and try to hit Chicago in the mouth, and I think at least he's going to get some volume in this game. Maybe some garbage time. Give me some garbage time Darnell Mooney stats. I like that. KOT3Q, Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. You know Joe isn't going to have 5 turnovers again. Ravens played good against play a good Miami defense. So who do you got, Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
I have Lamar here, but I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah. You know what? Here's my thought process. I know Lamar Jackson struggled a lot. Miami, listen, I've talked about Miami all day. I love the defense. They're my streamer defense of the week. But this is fantasy football, and it doesn't have to look pretty. I mean, Joe Burrow is playing against the Dallas Cowboys, who might not score much. I mean, this is the formula for Joe Mixon to get like 25 to 30 carries and just eat this game and win the game, 17 to 10 or something like that. They can do that. They don't need to go off. Lamar might not look pretty, but he's going to run around, rush the ball, get you a handful of stuff there too. So I think I'm okay with Lamar this week from a fantasy standpoint. It doesn't mean that the Miami Dolphins won't get production themselves. Any insights on TDP versus Mason for the number 2? Yeah, our patented 49ers guy is now not here, but DT, have you heard anything about the backup running back situation after Jeff Wilson?
No, I mean, all that I heard was hot hand, right? Which is not necessarily what you want to hear. As probably somebody that spent up to get Jeff Wilson, if you do have him, or maybe you lucked out and grabbed him last week, seeing the crappy weather. I don't know. I just be guessing here with whatever I said, but I will guess. I'm fine guessing. I'll go with the rookie in Davis Price. I think that our guy Matt Stiles made a decent argument for him in his waiver wire column this week. Mason got the nod over him because he played special teams. So not necessarily Davis Price didn't suit up last week because he's not a special teams guy. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like this week, but it really could go either way. I'm going to lean Davis Price, I guess.
It's funny. It's like almost like this eerie Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon thing where Sermon got drafted, Mitchell was later, and it's kind of the same feel with Mason this year. And he's kind of got this like Shanahan, we just found this guy off the scrap heap, and he's perfect for our system type guy. So I haven't really heard. I'll be upfront. I haven't heard anything. I'm just looking through stuff now to see what the deal is here. Mason's bit was like a camp standout for them, and they loved him, and he plays on special teams, and he does get that too. So that's why he was active over TDP last week. But give me TDP. I think if I'm going to handcuff Jeff Wilson, it's going to be with TDP for now. Shout out to Official Savage. Talking with Winston has 4 fractures in his back and is playing Trooper. Is that true? Jameis Wilson has 4 fractures in his back. I didn't hear that. Did he?
I didn't hear that. We all might have 4 fractures in our back. I don't know. These,
emotional fractures,
hairline fractures.
Yeah, man. Honestly, at this point, not even 100% sure. Winston is. They did have a nice comeback win last week, so I mean, I don't know really know to think about Winston and that playing Atlanta, struggling, and then coming back against Atlanta doesn't seem like. We'll see this week against Tampa Bay's much stingier defense. Let's see if James can get revenge like he did last year. James Anapoka. James sounds familiar. I think he was with us last year. Appreciate you. Shout out, James, for coming back. Standard League, Gabe Davis. Needs a Gabe Davis replacement, Bateman or Isaiah McKenzie.
James, a good friend of mine. We're in a league together.
Oh,
so this
cool.
is that league. Fortunately, he's not playing me this week, or I'd have to sandbag him here with a bad answer. But Bateman, I'll go with Bateman over McKenzie.
Yeah, sorry, James. I thought I knew you, man. Sorry, man, it's a DT guy. My bad.
He may have been around last year. I don't know.
It's probably not. So let's see. Bateman will not be shadowed by Howard. I'm not worried about that. So the question comes: you want to just sit on? I mean, because you would rather start Gabe Davis on Monday against Tennessee than Bateman, but if Gabe Davis is out, McKenzie will probably see a bigger role. So give me the Bills wide receiver situation. Yeah, wait for Davis. If you have McKenzie, keep him on your bench. If Davis is rolled out, flipping McKenzie, he'll probably see a full-time role if Davis is out. So I'm okay with that move. over Bateman. All right, let's jump down to Julio DLG, Singletary or Michael Carter. Who do you got?
And he did say this is full PPR.
Full PPR, that is correct.
A slight edge to Singletary, but it really is another one of those coin flips where I'm not confident. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Singletary too. I think he at least look. I mean, listen, Cook and Moss lost a fumble last week. And Devin Singletary once again is the steady hand and doesn't fumble, and he's always on the field making the right plays. I think that this week he actually gets a little more touches against Tennessee. So I'm okay with him over Michael Carter, who has to share with Breece Hall this week. Jumping down to the next one, Marcus Mariota or Brady. This haunts my dreams because I just said Marcus Mariota. I'm personally starting Marcus Mariota over Brady. I'm assuming DT you would actually go Brady.
Yeah, I think you're nuts, but hey, anything can happen.
I know. I get it. Trust me, I know. Sometimes I just want. Last week I lost my game because I had Brady got me like 10 points in the league, and I'm just like I just want 17 points, and I just want my quarterback not to screw me. Brady seems like the type of guy that overcomes adversity. I think if it wasn't the Saints, like the Saints, he's been so up and down against the Saints already. Then you factor in all this stuff. I could just see Brady. It's whatever. I'm gonna be wrong. I'm fine. I'm okay with being wrong on this one. What's up, guys? What's up, Matt? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining. We do appreciate it. Need 2 out of Montgomery, Zeke, and Hunt full PPR. He's also starting Chubb. DT, does that sway you in any way?
No, at full PPR, I think I would go with Hunt along with Chubb there. He needs 2 of them though. So yeah, Hunt and Zeke for me. I'm concerned about the Bears playing the Packers and Monty just not getting a ton of work.
Let's see. How did David Montgomery do last year? Let's check. We're going to do a lot on there. Why not? My voice, I'm slowly losing my voice. This is a lot going into this. Let's see. Last year, he played against Green Bay, 10 carries, 42 yards, but 6 receptions for 39 yards. Interesting. I am going to go Zeke and Hunt, though. I'm okay with Zeke and Hunt on that one. Let's jump down to this one. All right, Jared Goff, Mayfield, or Tannehill from Julio DLG. What do you got, DT?
Let's take a look. Who do these guys got this week?
Tannehill's got the Bills. Mayfield's got the Giants. Goff has the Washington football team.
Yeah, these are not great choices. Hopefully this is super flex.
I think it is.
I'll go with Goff.
I'm actually going to go Mayfield. Giants are down a key cornerback, so I think that he's going to get some production against the Giants. And the Giants really just are an uninspiring team on defense anyway. Bronco plays. All right, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Cordell Patterson, pick 2 standard league. What do you got, DT?
Standard, usually I'm going to give the nod to a running back. So I'll take Cordell as number 1, and then DJ Moore as number 2.
Okay. I'm going to go Patterson and DJ Moore as well here. James Gannon, shout out to James Gannon, my boy from college. What's going on, man? 1 running back, Melvin Gordon, Kenyon Drake, or Khalil Herbert. Who you got, DT?
Melvin for this one.
Melvin for me as well. Trey S. Morning, gents. Morning, Trey. Good to see you. Full PPR start 2. Allen Robinson, ETN, Michael Thomas, or Kareem Hunt. Who do you got? Start 2, DT.
ETN, and it's tough. This is a tough one. I do have a slight bias towards running backs, even in full PPR, which is probably a little bit unusual. So it's ETN and Hunt for me, but I've got no problem with going Michael Thomas there over really either of them.
I'm going to go Allen Robinson and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's probably like the one player I just don't know what to do with all the time because his production, he's so touchdown dependent, but he always scores. So I'm just like, all right, well, he'll get you 10 carries for 40 yards and 2 receptions, and he'll find the end zone, and that's it. So whatever. Going Hunt, and I'm going to go Allen Robinson there.
You know, it kind of goes back to that variance factor that you said, and it can be, to a certain extent, lineup dependent with some of these decisions where, like, if you feel like you've got a lot of very stable, consistent guys that are going to put up those floor numbers, but maybe don't have that, like, monster game in them, and you're going against a team that's got a lot of that firepower, then maybe you want to play a Kareem Hunt because he could put up, 2 points, or he could go off for the 2
Yeah.
touchdowns. And, so that's a wrinkle to the game that maybe not everybody thinks about, but it's real. And you can overthink it too at the same time,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I do that for a living. I overthink it every day. So I get you on that. Julio DLG, it's not a super flex. So this is DLG's Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff, two to three quarterbacks. Well, maybe that should mean that you have deep running backs and wide receivers. So try to find a trade partner maybe after 2 to 3 weeks. If you're streaming quarterbacks, it's not working. Obviously you could definitely make a trade at some point, maybe trade one of those wide receiver running back depth pieces to get a quarterback if you need to. But overall, that's tough that most teams in your league get 2 to 3 quarterbacks. Anyway, Julio DLD asks Cincinnati defense or the Colts defense. Now, remember, the Colts might be playing in a bad weather game against Jacksonville, could cause some haywire, but Cincinnati has that Cooper Rush matchup this week. Who do you got, DT?
Yeah, so pulling up my rankings here. Oh, blocking the screen. I think I have the Colts. I have the Colts ranked slightly higher, and then if they are in a sloppy game, that gives them even a little bit more bonus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cincinnati. Cincinnati's just like this kind of like really good defense, and now they got this really good matchup. So I'm gonna go Cincinnati. Should I start Michael Carter, Robbie Anderson at my flex this week? Who do you got? Kale L. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining. We do appreciate what you got, DT.
Michael Carter here.
I'm going to go Robbie Anderson. 100% of the snaps last week looked good. The Giants secondary is not anything.
What if this is a standard league? Does that change your answer?
I mean, the Cleveland Browns run defense is actually not bad. So the Jets running game in our metric on there is outside the top 20. And he's going to be splitting work with Breece Hall. So I'm not all in on Carter this week anyway. But like you said, if it's standard, I guess you go running back usually. So I'd be okay with Carter in standard. But in half and full PPR, I'm going to go Robbie Anderson in this one. It's full PPR. There you go. Kale gets it, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Make sure you add those format questions in there. So it is full PPR. Does that change your response, DT?
No, but it does make it a lot closer.
Okay. All right, man. That's all we got. That's all the questions we got for today, man. Honestly, this is 2.5 hours in right now. We got 20 minutes till kickoff. DT, any final thoughts? Any lineup questions you had? Anything you want to tell the people before we go?
No, I got to get back to do some last-minute tweaks on my rankings and
Same.
check out my DraftKings Rainmakers teams. We had Alvin Kamara to replace this morning, and it's a fun game. The DraftKings Rainmakers. I don't know if anybody else out there is playing it, but it's wild. You're buying and selling these cards and slotting them into your lineup, and there's all kinds of crazy different strategy.
Well, I have to look into that, man, but I am not. For that, we appreciate everybody joining. Once again, this is the Week 2 Sunday Live Start Sit Show. I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. We want to shout out to Gladys, Sky, and DT for joining the show today. Make sure you're joining us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Not only do we have great shows all week long, but we're going to be here every single Sunday for 3 hours answering your start sit questions. We have weather updates, injury updates, what you need to win your fantasy league. Once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. Thank you, DT, for joining again. We are out of here.